What is up, everybody? It is open mic night. Make sure that you call in early, get your spot, pinned to the top of the chat. You're going to see the link to call in. Get off any take that you have. It is your night to say whatever is on your mind. I know we had the state of the franchise today. I watched a majority of that. I probably missed about the final 10 minutes or so. So we can talk about that. A couple of the topics that we've had this week were quarterback traits, what are most important to you. And I posted some interesting stats today on Twitter that I think a lot of people probably didn't realize was the case, having to do with Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. And then also, I was looking at some contracts for the San Francisco 49ers and really trying to figure out which contracts are the best contracts currently that the 49ers have. So we can talk about a myriad of different things. I'll get to my points and then turn it over to y'all. But make sure you call in, and we're going to do it all next. All right. Welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second. Like I said, it is open mic night, which means it's your night to call in, say whatever is on your mind. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. Right now, I've got nobody waiting. It's the slow part of the offseason, which means you can probably get in and get your takes off. So some of you that never call in, that stay in the chat where it's nice and safe, and you throw jabs up here, now's your time to throw jabs over the phone, right? We can actually talk and have a good conversation. I'm just messing with most of y'all. You guys are actually all really cool for the most part. Some of you, little whatever, but still appreciate y'all as well. Let's see who is in the chat. Hey, what's up, man? Tango India Mike. I like that. That's good. That's a good name. Kieran, what's up? Alan, JM617. We got the Purdy fan base in here. Third string all pro. What's up, Twin? Twin, call in, man. Mr. G, call in. We got Michael. What's up? Eric. Let's see who else we got in here. Who else is talking? Jesse says he's safe. What's up, 49ers throwback? Randall, Corey, Kless. Dang, all right, let's go. Retweet the link. It should be pinned to the top of the chat. Here, let's do this. I'll send it again. Let's see if that works for you. That should get you in. But while we are waiting, there's a couple things that I want to talk about. So for those of you that missed the show on Tuesday, I talked about quarterback traits that matter most to me. Like if I'm evaluating a quarterback, what are the things that I look for? And it's hard because there are 30, 40 traits probably if you really sit down and think about it for a quarterback. So to come up with 5 can definitely be difficult. So I kind of came up with 6 because it was really hard, but I do have a top 5 and then an honorable mention. So number 1 for me was leadership. Most important thing. I'm looking for somebody that can galvanize the troops, get people to play for him, not in spite of him or, for themselves or whatever. I want people that want to play for the quarterback. So that's number 1. Number 2, decision making. None of the other stuff really matters to me as far as physical traits, like how far you can throw, how accurate you are, how much zip you have on the ball. None of that matters if you can't make good decisions. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks throughout the history of this league that are really good athletically. They really can make all the throws. I think Sam Darnold comes to mind. Jimmy really actually comes to mind. But they're bad decision makers. And if you're a bad decision maker, none of the other stuff matters because you're going to turn the ball over regardless. Number 3 for me was pocket presence. Pocket presence is extremely important to me because what I see with a lot of these kids coming out of college, they sit back and they sit in shotgun sets and they can't climb the pocket or they can't feel pressure. And it ends up being a killer on the next level because pockets close a lot quicker. You can't run out of the back of the pocket a ton. You have to move up if you want to make plays continually. That's one area where I think Trey Lance really improved a lot from year 1 to year 2. That's an area that Brock Purdy certainly needs to improve on, and I think he definitely can. That's something to me that when I looked at the rookies that were coming out this year, Anthony Richardson, I think, did the best job of. And that's why I was really high on him. So number 3 was pocket presence. Number 4 is accuracy. Obviously, you want to deliver the ball on time and accurate, but accuracy is different than completion percentage. I think a lot of people look at a player's completion percentage and they say, oh, that player is accurate or he's inaccurate. Ball placement is extremely important. I look at Jimmy Garoppolo. A lot of times he put the ball where it was catchable, but I felt like there was a lot of times where there were yards left on the field because he threw it inside like, let's say you're running a slant. You're going like this, throwing it to the inside hip. So you got to stop, slow down. That's what I'm talking about. I want it out in front. The last thing that I said was mobility. It's one thing to be able to feel the pressure, but can you get away from the pressure? That's super important. So mobility for me was number 5. And then also, can you add something extra? If you need to run beyond the line of scrimmage, the backbreaker runs, the Russell Wilson runs, we all know what that feels like as 49er fans. The Russell Wilson runs, the Patrick Mahomes runs. Can you, on a 3rd and 4, run for 5 yards and just make the defense's life a living hell? So that was number 5 for me. And then honorable mention was arm strength. I want somebody that can make all the throws, every part of the field, no issues, can zip it in. That was like my honorable mention. That being said, there's more that I could talk about. I wanted to talk about the 5 best contracts, a couple other things, but it looks like it's loaded up on the backside. So we're going to give everybody 5 minutes. Right now, the order is going to be Twin, Allen, Terror Dome, Flav, Michael, and then Rohan. That is going to be the order. 5 minutes. Be respectful. As soon as that 5 minutes hits, you'll see it in the corner of the screen. Make sure that you wind it down and finish your call just to stay respectful. Like I said, let's go with Twin.
What's up, my guy? How
you doing?
Oh, man, it's a lovely day in the neighborhood like Mr. Rogers, you know?
Yeah, I feel it. Hey, you be getting it in on Twitter with me. I gotta say, you definitely are a ride or die on Twitter for sure.
Hey, man, listen here. Like, when you say certain things, I just understand it because a lot of times it's the small nuances. I always like to tell people, man, it's the diamonds in the details. And a lot of times I think people overlook it, you know, and especially when you're talking about a team like the 49ers, and we know we're talking about the quarterbacks, you know what I mean? And I go from the perspective as off talent alone, Jay, our team can win 10 games. And
Oh
so
yeah.
people, they look at wins, oh, we win it, we win it, we win it. I'm like, okay, I see that. My thing is against the upper echelon team where it's like man for man, we're almost balanced, we're almost even. And it's the small things that if we're not really good at, this is when we lose. This is how we lose these games. And so when you are breaking down certain things, I understand why you're doing it because most people are looking at these easy games that we're winning. Not saying that these games are easy, but they're looking at those games like, man, we won this, we won that. But I'm like, dude, when you play against a team like a Michael Parsons who has the Lawrences, they have the Diggs and these other guys on their defense who is just as athletic, just as fast, just as quick, just as experienced as we do. That's when the arm strength may matter, or that's when the playbook may have to expand, or that's when these things where your quarterback have to be. You remember this back in the day when people used to play Madden, and this is I hate Tom Brady, but this is the one thing he always had as a quarterback: coolness or poise. I think that's one of the number one traits for me as a franchise quarterback that I love. A quarterback that can be poised in the last 5 minutes of the game. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, these attributes I feel like are much needed for a team like the 49ers, but the coolness, for me, in my opinion, is relegated to Kyle Shanahan. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily think he allows the quarterback to have that type of responsibility. We've been hearing people as of late talking about the playbook, how Kyle called plays, just his scheme. It's kind of like, hey, You can replace set player, pin another player in, replace that player, pin another player in. But when you get to those, like I said, like those upper echelon teams, you got to have somebody go out there and get a bucket. It's like in basketball. You got to have somebody say, hey, give me an ISO on the left block, and I can do this 5 times in a row, and you either go foul me or I'm going to get a bucket. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to tell you what I'm
Absolutely.
about to do. I ain't got to sit and try to dress it up, try to fool you, try to put, you know what I'm saying? Try to put pig on a lipstick. No, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, and can you beat it? And that's what I used to see. This is where we get the gold standards from. And it amazes me, like some of these people who are like, old heads when it comes to 49ers. It's like the only reason why y'all love the Niners for real, is because we was the gold standard. We were 5 for 5.
We
You
were
know what I'm
winning.
saying?
Exactly.
Like
That
I hear people
that
talking about,
five
well,
for five meant something to
bro,
everybody that's as old as we are. That 5 for 5 meant something. The
bro,
moment we lost a Super Bowl, it was heartbreaking.
heartbreaking. And look, I hear people talking about, oh, we made an EFC championship game. I'm like, dude, the reason why you was bragging in 81 or 85, like or the 90s, like, is because you said we never lost. We had the Jordan complex. When we made it to the game, we didn't lose. And now people are like, hey, we can celebrate this. Like, we didn't celebrate that. The standard was rings. Jerry Rice say it all the time. The standardship is championships. And that should be the culture of the team. The culture shouldn't be just being happy to get there. The standard should be we wanted to win. So when you are bringing out these details, man, that's what we need to win the ring. Not just to get to the playoffs and win a couple games and get to the end. No, man. These are the small, minute things that the Bill Belichick's are double checking and rechecking. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I always like when you bring out certain things and I can sit there and say, he understands, and I can sit there and champion you that, man. So keep doing your thing. I really appreciate it. I love seeing how you guys be out here. I ain't gonna say y'all be combative, but y'all just be holding people up to the standard, and you guys come back with tape and say, hey, this is what's really going on, man. So yeah, man, it's
You know what I noticed, Twin? It's funny because you were talking about the old heads and how we were proud of 5-0 and the gold standard. And it's not the fault of people that are younger. Like they just weren't around to experience a Super Bowl championship. So because a lot of what they've seen in their life has been well below mediocrity. If I've never seen a Super Bowl championship, but then I get these runs of 4 years, 3 years I get to the NFC championship, and one of those years I make a Super Bowl, like it's a big deal. That's a big jump from being completely irrelevant the way that the 49ers have been for so many years since the turn of 2000. So I understand that excitement as well. I really do understand that, but it's just a generational difference. If you haven't been around for a championship, your expectations are going to be a little bit lower. I think that's normal. It's all about the environment and what's around you and what you've seen. And so I think that plays a lot into it. And so I think when we have these conversations or these debates, we have to understand and kind of give grace that, hey, you're talking about 2 different generations that saw 2 different standards. So the expectations might be a little bit different. So
no, for sure. And I'll say this real quick. You remember the Bills. Like, people forget that the Bills went to 4
oh
straight
yeah,
champions. Like,
yes,
but I tell you today, they're never spoke of. Never.
no,
Thurman Thomas was an excellent running back. Never even brought up. Bruce Smith, a monster of a defensive end. Guess what? He's never even brought up in the conversation. I think he's probably number 1 in sacks. You know what I
Reed,
mean?
Kelly, BB. I
Reed,
mean, all
Kelly,
these
Dunn,
guys.
BB.
Yeah.
Like, dude, these guys aren't even
Tasker.
mentioned. Steve Tasker, you see what I'm saying? Like, hey, we in our bag now. But like, look, hey, people don't even mention their team. You know why? They said, man, you went against
No
the
rings.
no rings.
No
And I'm
rings.
sitting back looking at some of these people who old heads like, man, no, we good. We win. I'm like, bro, we gonna be 10 years from that. We won't, if we don't finish the deal, man, we don't raise the culture or the standard up, man, to these guys, put the fire to them and be objective with our team and be realistic. We just gonna be sitting back here looking like the Buffalo Bills of the early 2020s. And I don't want that.
Hey, I hope not, Twin. Hey, thanks for starting us off, man. I appreciate it. I got to get to the next one.
All right, man, for
Keep
sure,
doing your
man.
thing, all right?
All right, God bless. Peace out.
Yeah, you too, man. God bless. Hey, Twin, man. He's a good soul. He's a good soul. He's got tons of kids, a great beard. He's always supportive in the chat. I love Twin. All right, we're gonna go to Alan, then Terror Dome, then Flav, then Rohan. Michael, you were in there and then you were out. I think I'm gonna put you in front of Rohan. I think you were in front of Rohan, and then we'll go Rohan and then Niner by Nature. Ooh, Niner by Nature. I haven't talked to you in a while. Terror Dome, I haven't talked to you in a while. This is gonna be a good call-in show. I can already feel it. I love it. All right, let's go with Alan here. What's up, Alan?
Hey, how's it going, Jesse?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Had a great day. Working hard, making the
I love it.
paycheck.
Yeah. What's on your mind, man?
Well, I was watching the state of the franchise right before the show. I'm about still 45 minutes away from finishing it, but I wanted to catch the show tonight, so I wanted to make sure to get in. So,
no, I appreciate it. What is there any takeaways from the state of the franchise? I got to be honest, like those things to me seem like a lot of fluff. I don't know. I don't really take a lot from those. I think I got all the way through until like the final 10 minutes and was like, I don't know. It is there wasn't a big takeaway for me. Was there anything for you yet?
not yet. Basically, I've seen Shanahan and Guido. Was about all I've seen so far. I'm at the coordinators right now, and it's just like,
oh, I got you. Actually, you know what? I think that was probably my favorite part was when the coordinators came out. Actually, hearing from them, hearing some of their philosophies, hearing them talk about what's important to them. I did enjoy that. I don't have like a major takeaway from it, but that portion was probably my favorite.
Yeah, I really liked so far the special teams guy talking about Moody and like all the trials he put him through in his pro day to throw just random long snapper out there and the ball just going everywhere to see how he took it. And he was like, he pinned just about everything. So I'm like, okay, well, if he can pin wild things, maybe kicking in the rain won't be as a problem as it was for other kickers that, in San Francisco, it can rain. So during the winter.
When I heard that, it kind of goes to show you just how good these guys are. Like even the guys that don't make teams, just how good they are. The fact that you can look at a kicker and say, all right, I want you to kick it off. And I want the ball to land on the goal line. Go. And then they can just, all right, go ahead. Boom, done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. And then listening to the offensive line coach, coordinator / running back coordinator, talking about CMC, I was just like, wow, the things that we don't see, even because we don't see everything in OTAs. The media is only out there for like an hour of the time, so there's so much stuff that we can still understand and learn about these players and seeing what comes of it. And it's really nice just to see what the upper heads see, not just what us as fans see, because I've been a fan since the 80s, and my biggest one was Super Bowl 29. That was the Super Bowl I remember like the most. It was my first I was 13, so it was like the first time that I can really remember watching a full 49ers Super Bowl. And one day in Pleasant Hill, California, I met Jerry Rice at the blood bank.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's kind of like, I wish I had my jersey that day, but I didn't.
Of course.
But
see, I'm a big signature guy. I get a lot of signatures, but it's a little bit different when you get that signature in person versus, just you buy it or whatever. There's always that, or just a picture with them, or just the memory. It's so it just means more that way.
Yeah, and this is like first generation camera phones. Maybe might have been what I had when I met them. So it wasn't
like a VGA camera.
Yeah, and didn't even have that really. So it was just like, and to meet like one of your heroes, they say never meet your hero. It's not always true because, I couldn't talk. I was speechless and all that kind of stuff, but it was still an amazing moment just to like live that moment. And, and then just everything else that comes with being a 49er fan. It's not just a matter of who's behind center every week. And I don't care who's behind center every week. It could be Trey, it could be Brock, it could be Sam, it could be whoever. Whoever's behind center, I'm rooting for it. I'm not rooting for a single player. I'm rooting for the 22 people that are on that field every given Sunday, Monday, and Thursday.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I've tried to point out is the one we can all fan different. We can all have different opinions and this and that. And some people can be, negative, some can be overly positive. But really the one obligation we have as fans, root for the product on the field when the games are being played. That's it. And as long as you do that, you're a fan. And all the rest of the stuff doesn't matter. So I agree. Even if it's a player that you don't want to play or you would prefer wasn't playing, once that whistle goes, that's it, man. You're rooting for him. It's the way it
That's
has to
right.
be.
And that's how I was raised. My grandfather raised me like that. My father, and being a fan of a team means you're a fan of that team. It does not mean that you're
Yep.
rooting just for a single Steve Young or Joe Montana or Jerry Rice or Terrell Owens. It doesn't matter. Whoever's out there, that's who you're rooting for. Whoever catches the ball, that's who you're rooting for. And when it comes down to it, when that final whistle blows with 0-0s in the fourth and you have the lead, go out and celebrate.
Yeah.
Whether you were at the game, you were watching at home, if the 0-0s are on the clock and you lost and you went to the game, it's not your fault that they lost the game. We go hoping they win, and when they lose, yeah, we're disappointed, but then you go to the bar or whatever your choice is and take a few minutes, relax, and get ready for Monday or Friday morning and start the week over again.
And get over it.
Until that next whistle goes. And, when he was talking about winning 5, we won 5 Super Bowls. Yeah, we did. But we've lost the last 2. And for me, losing in a Super Bowl is worse than losing in the NFC Championship game. I'm much more upset, and I actually have to go take a walk around the block for like an hour.
Oh, dude!
Okay.
The further you get, the worse it is. I'm gonna cut you off there, Alan. Not because I'm not enjoying the conversation, but I got a lot of people waiting, and that 5 minutes is up. But I'm gonna throw in one thing on your way out. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna throw in actually a couple things when it comes to fandom. One, I'm not gonna gatekeep fandom, but as a fan, you can have players around the league. I'm not gonna gatekeep fandom, but I'm about to gatekeep it. You can have players around the league that don't play for the 49ers that you root for and you like. None of this 2-team stuff. None of this rooting for another team. Like, you can't have 2 teams. It's not the way it works. I hate it when people have 2 teams. But I also notice that when your team is in the playoffs, maybe this is just me, but when your team is in the playoffs, once they lose, your interest in the playoffs goes out the window. Like, I just lose all interest in what's going on. But if my team is not in the playoffs, then I'm really into the playoffs. I don't know. It's a really weird thing that happens, but I guess when your team's there, you're hoping that they're going to win. And the expectation is probably that they are. And when they don't, you're super disappointed. So it just ruins the playoffs. But if your team's not there, there's no expectation. So you're just kind of rooting for, good games. And that's what you care about. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But personally, that's the way that that it happens for me. That's the way I feel. All right, we're going to go Terror Dome, Flav, Michael Rohan, Niner by Nature. What's up, Terror Dome?
What's going on, my brother? How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, man. How are you?
Just awesome. I've just been looking at the large gallery of content creators who are just besmirching, bemoaning, and belittling the efforts of Mr. Brock Purdy last year, acting as if anybody could have did it, asking and saying things like, well, he had this, he had that, all the things they do for the greats. Just to caveat a little bit in terms of what you were talking about, looking for the 5 traits of a quarterback in there. I had them just as the initial caller. I don't know. I can't remember exactly who his name was, but he hit it out of the park with that. Poise and presence is very, very, very key. When you're the quarterback position, I don't know if anybody has seen the movie Any Given Sunday.
Yeah.
But there's a speech that Al Pacino gives Jamie Foxx in terms of that position means so much. It's the quarterback, kid. It's the top of the heap. Your players have to believe in you. The other 52 have to know that you're the guy. You can step in there and you can do it. I think Mr. Purdy exuded that. The next I move to is it was a toss-up between accuracy and processing. You have got to process what comes down to a foreign language within a week, and then next week we're going to run another foreign language, and we're going to move to another country, and we're going to see how good you are in France this week. Next week we're going over to Venezuela, and we're going to see how much you devoured and you're ready for Venezuela, and I want you to move, shoot, and communicate. Very similar to what we ask our special forces to do in the United States Army. Shout out to now Fort Liberty, was Fort Bragg Special Ops. Then I'll get to the accuracy. It does no good if you're misfiring the shots on the targets. We have something called basic rifle marksmanship in the United States military, and you've got to shoot, move, and communicate. If you're not accurate, if you're not deadly with that weapon, you're doing nobody no good. You're just hanging around, spending a bunch of ammo, and your adversary will advance. Next, I'll move to decision making. I don't need somebody out there acting a fool, a la Brett Favre. I don't want a gunslinger. I don't want somebody who's just going to take shots and willy-nilly and go, boy. He loves it. He loves it. He's just shooting from the breeze. No, buddy. I needed to be pinpoint accuracy. I need you to place it. I need you to put it where I need to put it on time, in rhythm, hit the step, and be mechanically sound on platform and off platform. You're a rotational athlete. We can improve the strength or the quote unquote arm strength or the distance for a rotational athlete. It doesn't come from his arm, everyone. It comes from the hip. Sit down and listen to some great guys like JT O'Sullivan, Coach Grant, and there's some others, Tom House most notably.
Pterodome, real quick before you get to this next one.
Go ahead.
Isn't it fun though? Not that you necessarily want that mentality, that gunslinger mentality from your quarterback, like your specific quarterback. But when you're watching other teams' quarterbacks, they sure are fun to watch. I'll give them that. Like they make the game interesting, no doubt about it.
Man, I loved Johnny Football when he was playing, and he could sling it around. But your decision making, man, decision making on and off the field. You're the president and the CEO and the face of this franchise. I gotta have a grown-up. I gotta have somebody with humility, and I gotta have somebody who makes good decisions and not throw it into double and triple coverage based on what you feel that day. Lastly, I'll say nimbleness and quicks inside a phone booth. Good feet. Bill Walsh said it all starts from the bottom up. You've got to do that 3-step, 5-step drop, hit the back foot. It's got to be out because it's timed up to the receiver's stride. He was playing 3-dimensional chess, and I'm 53 years old, y'all. I've been around for all of them. I know what I'm looking at when I'm looking at it, and you're not going to talk me out of it about this guy's upside, this guy's ceiling. He could be that. He might be this. No, it gets down to who did it, how they did it, when they did it, and can they do it. And that's what we have. Don't cash your 401k in for a whole bunch of scratch-off lottery tickets. That's my time. I thank you.
I got one question for you on the way out, Pterodome. I got one question for you. Who is your favorite quarterback of all time?
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. He is undisputed, the greatest that ever did it.
Okay. Is he your favorite, though? Your personal favorite?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's fine. So you know what I noticed? First of all the things that you talked about were important to you. He has. And I was going through the 5 most important things to me. And I didn't do this purposefully. I don't think you did it purposefully either. But when I looked through mine, I was like, oh man, like I literally just built Steve Young. That was it. Who's my favorite quarterback of all time? So I went through it. I was like, leadership. Oh, are you kidding me? We're talking about top-notch leadership.
Yes,
definitely
sir.
Steve Young. Decision-making, like this guy was so smart. Talking about BYU grad, super intelligent. I mean, this guy made great decisions out there. He was, a little bit early, it was erratic, but once he got into the flow, great decision maker. Pocket presence, he was like the original. Climbing the pocket, running downfield, doing his thing.
Yes. Sir.
Accuracy. elite accuracy and then mobility. I mean, we all know what Steve Young brought mobility wise. So
Steve, yeah. I was in the Army with a guy who played with him in the USFL. He said, man, y'all got a monster out there. This was 92, Sergeant Williams. He played guard in the USFL. And he said, Steve Young was the fastest guy on that team. That included wide receivers. That included running backs. That included DBs. He said, hey, don't let that white boy fool you. That boy is fast.
Athletic as hell. Athletic as hell.
He didn't get caught behind, Jeff.
There we go. All right, Terror Dome. Have a good one, man.
All right.
There's Terror Dome. Some of y'all love him. Some of y'all don't. But Terror Dome always brings it. No doubt about it. I know that Terror Dome and I we do disagree on Purdy. But that's how it's done. You come in, you get your points off. I'm not going to interrupt you or have a big argument with you or any of those things. First of all, we don't have a lot of time. But if it's not like, overly busy, sometimes we'll get into some good conversation. But that's what it's all about. That's what it's supposed to be like. You have two people that disagree, and they're able to get their points off and have a good conversation. So, speaking of disagreement, this next one here, most of y'all disagree with. Some of y'all maybe not. But I'm going to venture to say most of y'all disagree with. That is Flav. We're going to get to him in a second. We got Flav, then we got Michael, then we got Rohan, then we got Niner by Nature. And, right on time, right when I get to Flav, I got King Sersky waiting to round this thing out. So that'll be interesting. I'm sure he's going to be taking notes on what Flav says and rebuttaling for sure. Let's do this thing. What's up, Flav?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. What a great caller. That dude right before me was smart.
He's like a preacher, teacher. Like, you could just tell he's got a lot of wisdom in life. Not just football aside, he's got a lot of wisdom in life, and that's why I respect Terradome.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, what he was saying about the quarterback position, I thought was spot on. And I see a lot of the same stuff. But I was just gonna say, we've I feel like I've been agreeing with you more lately in your takes. Or at least more is like agreeing on one thing. So.
Yeah.
But especially with regard to whether or not the team should keep Trey, assuming Purdy is the guy, I think, the difference is it's probably more similar to how you viewed keeping Jimmy around when Trey was supposedly the guy, where you felt, why are we going to keep this guy? We know we can't win a Super Bowl with him. And so why are we going to keep him? Like, I feel that same way, except that's kind of how I feel about Trey. Like, I just don't see a way where with this core group of guys, we're going to win a Super Bowl with Trey. I think any hope of winning a Super Bowl with Trey isn't going to come for, 3 to 5 years. And that's maybe if everything works out and he can kind of, get his, get everything together that you hoped he would get together when you drafted him. But I mean, I go back and I just look and I was recently looking at, Carr, one of the Carr brothers, was it David Carr? The older Carr.
The one that was drafted by the Texans or Raiders?
Yeah, I think it was the one that was
David.
drafted by the Texans.
David.
Yeah, he did a breakdown of like Purdy's Seattle game performance in the playoffs. And, he's there and he's like breaking it down. And I mean, even Purdy's like, dropping back and one wrong step in his drop back and he's missing, a receiver that has a step on a guy that would have been there had it been there. And you're just, when I'm looking at Trey, it's like, and all the things that you mentioned about Jimmy not putting the ball like where it needs to be so receivers have room to run and that sort of thing. Like, I look at Trey and it's like, even back in college when his receivers have 15 yards of free space around them and all he has to do is, get it in the vicinity, he's still throwing at their ankles. And I don't know, what are your thoughts on Trey in the red zone? Do you think Trey was good in the red zone in those 3-4 games we saw him?
Man, I got to be honest with you, Flav. It's such a small sample size, bro. Like, it's so. I mean, I don't think he was necessarily great, but I also look at some other things. Like when I go break down those plays, like there's a play that stands out to me in particular in the Bears game where literally there was just nobody open, and he had to, he took off and ran. So I was like, okay. You had the Debo fumble in the red zone. There were some things definitely where I'm like, whatever. But then, there are times where it's like, hey, they had 7 shots at it against Green Bay before the half and couldn't punch it in with Jimmy. And Trey comes in and they go for the gusto and he gets a touchdown. So it's like, it's such a small sample size. It's really hard to say. Like, you know what I mean? I definitely, here's what I'll say. And I think this is kind of more where you're getting at. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I will say that the offense, regardless of why, right? Whether it was because, Kittle and CMC didn't play or, it rained a lot in Chicago or it was early in the season or Trey's finger, whatever. All that aside, the offense didn't seem to be in rhythm the way that it would be with a Purdy or a Jimmy. And even Kyle Shanahan talked about that where he said, hey, I don't know how to call plays for the guy yet. Like I'm not used to this dual threat thing. And so I think that definitely showed itself on game day. And I think that's kind of your overarching point, which I can agree with.
That's a big one is, I never felt the rhythm in any of Trey's games. Like he may have hit in the Texans game, he hits a big play here and there. Maybe they managed to string a couple plays together, get down the field. But it's like when the accuracy isn't there consistently, it's hard to, feel the rhythm of the offense. And then, to me, it's like when you get down in the red zone, you take away the deep threat. All of a sudden now the field's condensed. Now he has to be super accurate with his passes. And to me, it felt like he struggled as opposed to Purdy, who I thought was incredible in the red zone. I thought he was, pretty damn efficient when he got in the red zone and scoring touchdowns. Can
I ask you one thing, Flav? Because we got the 5 minutes is out, but I want to ask you 2 things. So real quick, rapid fire. For 1 year, this upcoming year, you could choose one quarterback to be the quarterback for the 49ers. Are you choosing Purdy or Jimmy Garoppolo?
It is Purdy 100%.
They're both 100%. They're both cleared, ready to go week 1.
Purdy 100. Yeah, not even a question. Purdy.
Okay. And then on your way out, because I think this will twist people up on the way out. Can you say one nice thing about Trey Lance?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you asked. I mean, you say like I can say one nice thing is. I mean, about his football game or like.
Yeah. No. About him as a football player.
Oh, about
not like hey, he's a nice kid or.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've always said great arm. In terms of strength, great arm. I suppose like this is where I think we haven't seen enough is, I hear he's very smart in terms of the decisions. I don't know like whether or not that hasn't turned up on film because, of poor mechanics. Like he just can't get the ball out quickly to these guys or he's not seeing them, because he's new to the offense sort of thing and still getting his feet wet. But I haven't really seen the decision making like I would for someone that is clearly as smart on paper as he is. I mean, and tested as well as he did. So, and then, I would say he has above average speed. I mean, great height and, and he's a strong kid. Like, that's what I would say. But in terms of like being a quarterback, I just don't see a natural quarterback. I just don't. He looks like a linebacker that, someone sold to play quarterback in high school. And ever since he's like, I'm a quarterback, but he's like really not a natural quarterback, man. So
you try to listen, Flav. I got to give you an A for effort, man. I really, I put you on the spot there. You definitely tried. Maybe next week you can come back with something. Hey, listen, I appreciate you, man. I got to get to the next one. Call in anytime, even though we always disagree, man. I appreciate you keeping it respectful.
All right, buddy.
All right, later. I figured that'd be a little entertaining for everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. What's up, Giants Niner fan? You know what's cool about Giants Niner fan? His logo on YouTube is the shirt that I'm wearing. Just happens to be. The timing is perfect right there. Appreciate you, Giants Niner fan. That was fantastic. That was fantastic. Oh, the super chat was supposed to say smash that like button. All right, I appreciate it. All right, we're gonna go Michael Monahan, then we're gonna go Rohan, then we're gonna go Niner by Nature, then Sersky, then David, then third string All Pro. I like this. Okay, this is good. What's up, Ryan? Your channel's elite. No, your channel's elite. Except for you're kind of bitter. I heard, I don't know, some really smart guy, David Lombardi, told me that you're kind of bitter, so I believe him. All right, let's go with Michael. What's up, Michael?
What's going on there, Jesse? How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. And yourself?
Good, man. I got to tell you, I am jonesing for the season to start.
Oh,
It's
dude,
just,
seriously, I'm so excited for this year. And I think for me, it's because I'm going to week 1. I'll be there in Pittsburgh. So I'm like extra excited about the whole thing.
I'm trying to find a way to get there. My company's based out of there, and so I'm trying to find an excuse to get out there. And a couple of guys I work with have tickets, and so we're trying to come up with some project work or something to get me out there. So,
Yeah.
Anyway,
I hope to see you there, man. I hope to see you.
I did get my tickets for Arizona on the December 17th, but I'm worried because if they've clinched the division by then, or Brock's hurt, that's my biggest worry, is that he won't be playing for some reason on that game. But I'll still be cheering hard. But hey, I don't have a lot to say, but I wanted to do some shout outs, if you don't mind, to some of the guys who are regulars.
Yeah, for sure.
John B, 187, Waveware, Brother
Yes.
Bob,
Yeah.
Randall. I'm sure I'm forgetting some people, but one of the things I want to say about all these guys is they make the shows fun too. They keep it interesting in the chat stream, and many of us are for Brock. Some of us are for Trey. We throw jabs at each other every once in a while, but it's pretty respectful, and I appreciate all those guys. Nobody gets too negative. Nobody goes for the jugular. This all seem like pretty cool dudes, and so I enjoy seeing some of the stuff they post almost as much as just watching the show. So I want to shout out to those guys. Pretty cool.
Absolutely, Michael. They do. They make it fun. And I was I like joked with 187. This was like a month or two ago. I was like, you're slowly like becoming one of my favorites. Like, we completely disagree, but I love the back and forth banter because he can dish it out and he can take it too. So it's fun to kind of go back and forth and like take jabs at each other, but it's all in good fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hate it when it devolves down to somebody says the guy that they're not for is trash.
Yeah.
Starts just being mean about it. But those guys, I think, generally speaking, keep it to, this is why I like my guy, and not breaking down the other guy. So I always appreciate that positive take on it.
Absolutely, brother. Well, hey, listen, you make it a lot of fun though too. I got to be honest. I mean, you're in there a lot. You're always supporting, not just here, but a lot of the other channels. So I'll speak for all the content creators. I know that I love having you in the chat, and I'm positive they do as well. So we appreciate you too, man.
Yeah, I'm struggling with Grant a little bit lately. I still love the guy, but he's like on this negative terror lately. I feel like Brock. Kyle dated his sister and then never called her again or something.
Yeah, Grant. Listen, this is what I think. This is where a lot of people love Grant. How I found Grant was in the 2020 season. Was it 2020? 2020 season, when the 49ers fell off after the Super Bowl. He was therapeutic because he would take the team to task after they lost. And it was like, yeah, that's how I feel. Like, get after him. And so I think a lot of like people really got behind him in those situations, and they love it when we lose. But when things are going good, it's like, oh man, he's not a fan. And he keeps he keeps taking shots at him. It's really hard to hear as a fan sometimes, I think, for people. So I totally get it.
Yeah, and I think when people join his show, they tend to, the whole thing sort of kind of spirals downhill sometimes.
Yeah.
Go down a negative rabbit hole. But hey, I know my time's almost up. I just had a quick question for you. I know a lot of you guys have been talking about, we need to get a premier edge rusher, opposite of Nick Bosa.
Mhm.
But when I go back and I watch the film, what I keep seeing is that right side of the offense is just killing us. Doesn't matter who's in at quarterback. It seems like the pressure is always, always, always coming from that right side. And, it's no wonder Brock rolls left a lot, because it seems like he's always being chased from that right side. Do you think the big difference for us is going to be an edge rusher, or do you think if we get partway through the season and McKivitz isn't doing the job, that we need to bolster up that right tackle spot somehow?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say I like the 49ers position, and this was kind of my whole thought process. Like right now, it seems like pass rusher, but maybe Drake Jackson really breaks out, and the need is not pass rusher. But the 49ers do have money to spend, and they're going to get a little bit more when they extend Bosa. And so that means that they're going to have money to play with. And maybe you see how this thing plays out. You get through training camp, you feel good about all your starting positions, you move forward, and you get closer to the trade deadline. And you let the season play out a little bit. Maybe you have an injury somewhere, an unexpected injury. And now you got to go get a corner or a center or whatever that position may be. Or maybe somebody's just not playing as well as you would hope. And so you got to go replace something. So I think right now, the impatient thing to do would be like, hey, go sign Yannick Ngakoue. We need him. But maybe we don't need Yannick Ngakoue. Maybe we're going to need that money later. And so I would say be patient as long as you can until we figure out what that need is, because it's going to happen at some point. It could still be pass rusher. It could be something entirely different, but there's going to be a point before this trade deadline where a position of need is going to really kind of open up to us. And we're going to say, man, we need to go trade for X player that's available and on the trade block. It sure is nice that we've got the money or the assets to go do that right now. So that's what I would say is continue to be patient as long as you can if you're the 49ers, and make a decision at the very last second if you can.
Yeah, I think that's the right approach. I have a lot of faith in Drake Jackson, and then with Javon, pulling double teams, I think he's going to free up Armstead and Bosa and some other guys to have a good year.
Absolutely.
But hey, appreciate you, Jesse, and I'll let you get to the next caller. It's good chatting.
All
with
right,
you.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Michael, man, he's a nice guy. I really like when Michael calls in. Lobs. All right. If you don't have Twitter, you don't know who Lobs is. But Lobs is notorious on Twitter. And I told him many months ago, I said, hey, listen, man, like you can call into the show anytime. I'm not going to bombard you. I think hopefully by this point, Lobs, like you would see that like I run a pretty tight ship. I let you get off your opinion as long as you're respectful. If you're respectful, I'll be respectful. I'll give you your 5 minutes to do your thing. But Lobs was backstage for a minute. Before he was in the chat, he was backstage, and I thought tonight was going to be the night. Maybe it still will be. But Lobs, call in. I think a lot of people would love to actually hear from you, and maybe it comes across different when you're verbalizing versus trying to throw things out in a character limit on tweets. Maybe, just maybe. All right, that being said, we're going to go to Rohan. What's up, Rohan?
Hey, man. How's it going?
Good, man. Good. I'm shocked. First of all, you greeted me nicely. That's not normal. So maybe I should remove you and bring you back in so that you can do this the right way.
You see, you just said like you got to be respectful. So I don't want to be kicked off within the first 10 seconds. But now that you said that, coming into this, like, I'm not going to lie, I just called in for fun. I had no clue what I was going to talk about. But then I heard your voice initially, and I was like, oh, man, this is boring me. So I went to work for a little bit until I came back on here.
Nails on a chalkboard for you. I feel it.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you. You got me locked into my work. Couldn't stand to hear your voice no more. So
hey, I'm a natural motivator, Rohan. I'm a natural motivator.
No, but hey, great to see you again. Great to talk to you one more time right now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was good catching you on Ryan's show as well. You always do a good job. what's kind of burning on your mind the last like week or so? Like what do you got kind of kicking around up there that's 49ers related?
You see, I have something that Marco put in my head on Thursday, and it's kind of shifted my thoughts a little bit. And
Okay.
I'll say it in a minute. First, you said something about two teams when I initially tuned in before you bored me out. But apparently I'm a fan of the Eagles, according to a lot of 49ers Twitter after I picked them to win the NFC Championship. So I'm a technically, I got two teams in my back pocket. But talking real, what's on my mind? Marco brought up this scenario. Brock Purdy right now, I've said it on camera, I've said it on Twitter. I believe that if he comes back by that August 21st deadline that Matt Mayoko inadvertently put out, I believe he starts week 1. And I don't think the other quarterbacks had a chance just because he's the guy who's had in-game action. He's the guy who they've prepared. And there's an expectation, obviously, for him to return by that time. You have enough practice time for him to be back in practice. But what if Brock Purdy comes back and struggles the 3 weeks that are there in practice? Do you think it's in the 49ers' best interest to still throw him out there week 1, understanding what he put out on the field last year?
Oh, man. I think that's where on the surface, I think a couple things go into it. One is Trey Lance. I'm going to say Trey Lance. Sam Darnold's not going to start week 1. It's just not going to happen, barring injuries. So how good does Trey Lance look? Is he like kind of taking over? Is he looking like, hey, this guy, we might have something here. We're ready to go. The team, he's instilling confidence in the team, which it sounds like he's slowly starting to gain that a little bit. How does he look? I think that plays into it. And then 2, I would say this is where coach and player have to be 100% transparent with each other and honest about the situation. And these are not things that are going to play out on the field. These are not things that are going to play out through media. These are private conversations that Shanahan and Purdy are having where Purdy's saying like, yes, I feel really good. I'm definitely ready to go. And being honest with his situation, which I think he will be. I think a lot of people will probably look at it initially and say, well, listen, if he doesn't play, he might lose his job and that could be it for him. I really feel like Purdy's a team player. And if he felt like he was hurting the team in any way, I think he would bow out until he was fully ready to help the team. That's the vibe I get from him. So I think you would want the player to be honest in this situation, and hopefully he would. I assume he would be, think he would be, but that's what it really comes down to.
And I like the point that you brought up, right? That he'd be there. I have 2 thoughts on that. One, I understand the ramifications for Purdy's health, but I personally believe that it's in Purdy's best interest professionally for him to be on that field as soon as possible. Because the only way, in my opinion, like I said, for him to solidify that job is for him to be in practice before the season starts so that he can be on the field week 1. If not, there's still a slight chance that somebody else is able to take his job, in my opinion. But with that said, I wonder, does he, try and put himself back on the field earlier than anticipated? And also, the second portion of it is with Purdy on the field. Let's say, they start in week 1, but he's rusty in practice. He doesn't look that good. If that continues, is there an increased motivation to take him off the field, understanding that you now have a little bit of a bigger sample size from practice to the games? Or do you still vibe with what you have, in the past 8 game sample size, understanding obviously the urgency of winning this season?
Yeah, I think it depends on. I think he definitely gets the grace of more than 1 game, right? I don't know what that limit is, but this is a real scenario. This is a real scenario, Rohan, and this is what I've thought about. Brock Purdy is coming into his first real offseason in the NFL. Okay, not preparing for the draft, not the Mr. Irrelevant thing, none of it. His first real offseason where he's the starting quarterback. And unfortunately for him, he's robbed of a true offseason because of the rehab he's had to go through. And that means the actual getting better at the little nuances of the game might have to wait a season or an off season. George Kittle talks about this all the time where he's like, listen, I don't like having surgery in the off season because that's my time to get better. And if that's taken away from me, that's going to hurt me. And this is a veteran, been in the league for many years. So for him to not have that, I think it's Kinlaw's problem as well. But for him to not have that, I think it is entirely within the realm of possibility that coming back fully cleared some point in August with just some practice reps and what have you, you go into Pittsburgh, maybe it doesn't look as good. But I don't think you can hit the panic button. I think the 49ers have to at least stick with whoever they choose, in my opinion, 4 games. Give them 4 games to work through it and figure it out. The 8 games overrides, the playoffs override. But if you start 1-3 or 2-2 and it's just not looking any better from his standpoint, not necessarily the team, because they may lose because of other reasons. But if it's not looking great from that standpoint, and he's just not able to kind of overcome the lack of an offseason or what have you, then you got to make the move. Just like I would say if Trey Lance started the same thing. You give him his 4 games. If it doesn't look good, you pull him. I mean, it's just what you got to do. If you've got other quarterbacks on this roster that you truly do believe in, then you can't just wait around and continue to lose. So,
and the way that I'll leave today, well, we've talked about what the 49ers would do. I want to ask you on your thoughts. Would you go with the better? Let's say Purdy comes back by that August 21st date. There's ample time for him to practice. You have that Purdy, Lance playing with those 1s and 2s reps. Would you go with the better looking quarterback for week 1 in terms of who is performing better in practice? Or would you go with Purdy, understanding what he's done in games? Your personal opinion.
I'm playing Trey Lance no matter what. I got to know what I have in him. And for me, I've got to go back all the way back to the reason I made the decision to go get Trey Lance. The reason that I gave up all those draft picks. The reason that I did that was this was a team that had gone to a Super Bowl, gone to an NFC championship when we decided to turn the team over to Trey Lance. And we looked at Jimmy Garoppolo and said it wasn't enough. He's not enough. We need something different. We need something better. So now you enter Trey Lance. So when I look at the results from Brock Purdy, not his fault. He got injured. Maybe they could have won. I don't know. Do I think they would have won the Super Bowl? Probably not. I'm looking at that and saying, yes, I think that his skill set is slightly different than Jimmy's, no doubt about it. I like the mobility. I like the calmness and the poise and all these other things. I personally would put him more in a Jimmy category than I would a Trey Lance category from an athletic standpoint. And the athletic profile I chose to get over Jimmy Garoppolo was Trey Lance. So I've got to figure it out. Can he be that guy that we drafted him to be? And if he's not, I definitely feel comfortable with Purdy because I know I'm going to win some games. But if he is, I might be able to win a Super Bowl here. And that's what I'm ultimately chasing. So either way, I'm figuring out what we have in Trey. And after 4 games, if I've seen enough, either he gets hurt again or he's regressing. It's not looking good. At least I know that I gave it the old college try. Because I know that this team can start out slow and we can still make the playoffs and go deep. So once I insert Purdy, we're good to go. I'm more worried about long-term in a Super Bowl. And what I've always said about Purdy is I believe he's Mr. Right now. I don't believe he's Mr. Right. Once we start peeling away the onion, we start pulling away some of the talent, he has to get paid. I don't believe he's that guy that can carry a roster. And because of that, I'm going to continually search for a guy that I believe can do that. I'm not saying Trey Lance is that guy. I'm saying I don't know. So I've got to know, is he or isn't he? And if he's not, then I'm going to roll with Purdy until I can find the guy that does fit the criteria that I'm saying, but I'm not done searching until I find that guy. That's the way that I look at the quarterback situation.
Good to hear. And Jesse, as always, appreciate your time. Glad to be talking to you. And you do a phenomenal job. And yeah, I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, bro. Talk soon. All right. Going to Sersky. What's up, Sersky?
What's good, Jess? What's going on, man?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
Oh man, cooling, man. Just I just went to the store to buy me some popcorn just in case I see this same movie that I seen back in 2017 all the way up to now with the Jimmy G situation. But well, I just want to throw that out there. But man, listen, remember when we always played the Seahawks and we played Russell Wilson all the time, and we would put up the best game plan we could to stop that Seahawks offense. Back
Oh yeah.
when they were dominating us. And every time, man, we was always getting back there, man. Eric Armstead, all them guys, man, we was getting back there, man. We know for sure we were getting Russell Wilson. But what Russell Wilson do? He extend the pockets with his legs, right? Russell Wilson has always been a thorn in our side. And when you don't Trey Lance kind of had them saying I'm not saying he's Russell Wilson. Does he have that same kind of athleticism?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's funny because I think a lot of people really like the further we get away from Trey Lance playing, the more and more like this tale of how bad he is continues to grow. It's the strangest thing I've probably ever seen. And you get people that will say things like, "Oh, he can't complete a short pass." Well, stats say otherwise. Or the film says otherwise. Or he's not even that athletic really. And it's like, well, hold on a second. What do you mean he's not that athletic? This is a guy who twice went over 50 yards rushing, and out of the 3 full games he's played, twice he's gone over 50 yards rushing, and he had a 41-yard rushing game and a half against Seattle.
Right.
That's not athletic. Like, okay, I guess he's not an athlete now either. So he can't complete a short pass. He's not an athlete. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. So, yes, I definitely think he can be that guy, especially because he does what I like, where when he takes off to run, as he approaches the line of scrimmage, he's still keeping his eyes downfield. So if something breaks open, he'll take that shot. He would prefer to be a passer. But if not, he's going to get mobile on you. And he's going to get mobile beyond the line of scrimmage, which I think is also very important.
Right. That's a great question, because people like Flav and them, they don't understand that neither. But next question. And don't you see like as of right now you're seeing NFL defenses, you're getting linebackers that there's to play safety. You're getting D linemen that's like they was getting guys that was running like 4.5, 4.6. Now they're getting D linemen that running like 4.5, mostly 4.5, more athletic.
Guys that are like 240 pounds on the edge, 235 pounds, like really light. Yeah,
absolutely. And when you look at the NFL today, and when you look at the previous NFL drafts, what kind of quarterbacks are you seeing getting drafted? Are you seeing quarterbacks getting drafted that's like Jimmy Garoppolo or Brock Purdy, or are you seeing NFL quarterbacks that are getting drafted like a Trey Lance? Like let me give some examples. Josh Allen, Justin Fields, who else? Lamar Jackson,
Herbert.
Yeah. Now you're seeing CJ Stroud. Now you're seeing, So don't you?
Yeah, no. You definitely are getting more of that guy. I want to caution. I don't want to. There are a lot of similarities between Brock and Jimmy when it comes to the throwing game, but the differentiator is at least Brock can get away. Like he's not flat-footed. He also, as a rookie, doesn't mean it's not going to improve. He didn't make his quick decisions as Jimmy, and so that's why the sack rate's going to be similar. But long term, like he does have that short area burst where he can be a Russell Wilson a little bit behind the line of scrimmage. He's just not going to necessarily be the Russell Wilson beyond the line of scrimmage. If that makes any sense.
Exactly, and that's why I'm saying that we're missing that, and that is something that we need this day of age in the NFL, is a quarterback that can do what you just said, be a threat with his legs beyond the line of scrimmage, and have those athleticism characteristics. And that's why I feel like Trey Lance is the answer long term. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't know what Trey Lance is going to be. I really don't know.
Idea.
And it's very sad. And it's very sad to hear people say that Trey Lance can't do this and can't do that, and he shouldn't be the franchise quarterback, for this organization. 4 games, like 4 games, really 4 games. So you're gonna say Trey Lance isn't the guy, and he can't beat this guy with this roster. Beat this guy with this roster after 4 games. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's a casual take. And people who believe that, they are casuals. I'm gonna have to say that respectfully. You are casuals, but the thing is, that is what we missing. Like, if you put Trey Lance in this offense, it's 11-on-11 football. Trey Lance could be a threat in the running game. Brock Purdy can't be a threat in the running game. Trey Lance can. That we need. Trey Lance can engage the football to Elijah Mitchell or CMC. D is going to respect that. They're going to honor that. That's going to open running lanes up for the running back to get 5 to 10 yards a pop. That's something that we need. Also, a quarterback like Trey Lance, something that we're missing is short yardage situations. 4th and 1, 3rd and 2, 5-yard line, the goal line. Like, and we seen that when Trey was in, when Jimmy was here, when we was at the goal line, Kyle would put Jimmy out and put Trey in there at the goal line and use Trey to use his legs to get in there. You know, and that's something that we need, just in case that if Kyle Shanahan wants to go for it on certain situations in games, he can have a guy like Trey Lance that can do that. Not no Brock Purdy. I'm sorry. Trey Lance has the build, he has the body built. He's 6'4", 220, 6'5", 220.
I mean, he's probably closer to. I mean, him and Sam are supposed to weigh the same. He looks a lot thicker than Sam does, but
right. So a guy of Trey Lance's stature, you need, in this day of age of football, you need a quarterback like that. And I get it. I get it that people are saying that Trey Lance has a problem with his short accuracy throws. I get it. But let me ask you this, Jesse. Can you say Kyle and Bob Greasy and them admitted that Trey Lance's finger wasn't healed all the way last season? Do you think that him having his finger injured all season long last year kind of brought up or kind of just pushed the narrative that, you know, he was making bad accurate throws because he couldn't grip the football with, because you need all 5 fingers in football?
Yeah, I'm gonna answer that one off. I'm gonna pull you out, Sersky, and I'm gonna answer that before I get to David. Just because we're well over the 5. I appreciate you calling in as always, brother. We'll talk soon. But I'm going to answer that. So one thing that, the way I understood it, and I could be wrong, is that Trey Lance, the finger injury lingered into the offseason, which kind of stopped his ability to possibly improve in a lot of areas. We saw some slight improvements, pocket presence, that type of stuff. Being able to move up in the pocket, it seemed less erratic, a lot more calm. Now the rain game kind of makes it tough. Like, I feel like we weren't able to get a full accurate assessment there. But I do believe that the finger injury was fully healed by the time the season started, but he had lost a lot of the offseason as far as that development, which is kind of what I'm trying to allude to with Brock Purdy here. Is Brock Purdy's going to probably start week 1 and be healthy, but it's so crucial to have that offseason, especially your first offseason, your first real one, like Trey's was last year. And if you're trying to fight through a rehab situation and you're not able to get on the field and work on the little minor details, it's going to be really, really hard to make giant leaps. And so, yes, that finger injury, you know, a lot of people make fun of the wobble and all these other things. It's clear that the main reason for that was the finger injury. Because when you watch him in college, it wasn't, the ball wasn't like all over the place the way it was sometimes early on when he was in the NFL. It wasn't that way during his pro day. It wasn't that way, you know, in the first set of preseason games. And then the finger injury happened, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, what the hell is this? And so, like, that was what we saw from him for a while. And so people have it in their mind, like, that's who he is. That's what he brings to the table. But reality is, when we watch him this offseason and everybody's reports this offseason, that's not there. Well, that's probably because of the finger injury. So I just want to say, like, I think he was fully healthy, ready to go week 1. But just not having that offseason was crucial. And that's kind of where my concern comes in a little bit with Brock Purdy, because he's not going to have that offseason either. So we'll see how it plays out. All right, we're going to go David, 3rd string All-Pro, John, Niner by nature, and then Lobbs. I know that Lobbs may have to go. If he does, that's fine. After that, it'll be Case 49, Allen, and then John. Let's do it. We'll go with David. What's up, David?
What's up, Jesse? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Very good, man. We got to get Loves on here.
That's what I'm saying.
I know.
I got to be respectful, right? Because people have been waiting. If it was up to me, I'd bump him to the front of the line because I got to hear from this guy. Like I got, and this is what's cool about a show like this is you get to actually talk with someone and engage and figure out kind of who they are. And it goes beyond Twitter characters and back and forth and anger and all these other things. You're like, hey, you know what? Like I look at Flav, for example. Flav in the chat is so annoying. Flav through super chats or on Twitter is so annoying. But when I talk to him, like, kind of like Flav, you know what I mean? So it's like, maybe we'll get that from Lobs. I would love to just move him up to the top, but I got to be respectful to everybody else's time as well. So,
man, Flav was funny, man. My first question would be, do you still live with your parents, and are they paying to put you through community college? Man, he's funny, man. He's funny on Twitter, going back and forth. It's crazy. Niners Twitter is crazy. It's you could be a Niners fan, but are you a Trey fan or are you a Brock fan? And it's just this constant back and forth. And I'm a Trey fan. I want to see what Trey can do. I'm a little disappointed with how the Niners have handled him over and over. I mean, you pick him third, like everybody said. What other organization drafts a quarterback in the first round, number 3, and doesn't start him? Doesn't see what they get with him. And yeah, he got hurt. You know, that was I was there, 5th row, when he broke his leg, and it was just, you know, people were happy to see Jimmy, but the crowd went silent because a lot of people were looking forward to seeing what Trey could do. And just the way that he comes back and is told, now you're splitting reps with Sam Darnold. It's like, it's just the continued mismanagement with Trey. You know, let's show some support for him. Let's get behind him. Let's give him a chance. The whole team, at least while Brock Purdy isn't healthy. Now, Brock Purdy did great. Did he do good? Yeah. Did he do great at some point? Yes, definitely.
For sure.
But people want to bring up all these stats, and I watched multiple games with Purdy throwing the ball directly to the defender where the defender just dropped the ball, sometimes 2 times per game. So his stats don't show everything on what he did on the field. He could come out next year and throw 15 to 20 interceptions because those defenders held on to those balls. And it's just like, come on, you guys, you know, you could always pick a stat and push a narrative on whatever you want, but, you know, they got to start showing support. And even like the Niners video yesterday, they show a 1-minute clip getting everybody hyped up. They show a screenshot for less than 1 second of Trey Lance and Brock Purdy, where all these other players are there live dancing around with the football. And it's just like, when are you guys going to get behind these quarterbacks? You know, Brock Purdy did good. Is Brock Purdy good enough to beat Jalen Hurts? Is Brock Purdy good enough to beat Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, all these top-level quarterbacks that can score at will? And the Niners defense did good last year, but when they faced a top-scoring offense, they lost. We didn't get to see what happened with Philadelphia, but are you telling me if the Niners played Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes after what everybody watched in the Super Bowl, that Brock Purdy was going to go out and beat those guys in a shootout? Come on, you guys. Let's be real. So I'm hoping that the Niners give Trey the shot, especially if Brock Purdy. This whole Sam Darnold stuff is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. People pulling Brandon. It's a bunch of haters that don't want to.
But David, do you feel a little bit like after the mini camps and OTAs that the whole narrative that was from the national media about Sam Darnold, it's kind of cooled down a little bit, has it not?
It has cooled down a little bit, but then you got Lombardi tweeting the first thing out of his mouth that Trey Lance threw a pick-6 interception. So these guys are going to push their narratives to keep Trey down or push up somebody else. And it's like, if Trey goes out there and he's going to have to be spectacular in training camp and in preseason to even get a shot. And then when he does, I mean, all I see, it's what we've had all off season. All we're going to get all during season long is one of these quarterbacks, whether it's Brock or Trey, they don't do good. They throw a couple picks. The team loses. Everybody's going to be wanting the other quarterback.
Yeah,
everybody
I hate that for both of them, by the way.
I do too.
I'm with you. Yep.
Yeah. So it's going to be tough. Lynch has his guy. Shanahan has his guy. I hope that Trey gets his chance. But honestly, if he's not, trade him. Give him an opportunity somewhere. Let the Niners get somebody that they could use in return if they can. I think you were saying the same thing. If they could get a player, that they could use, let's get them. And let Trey go to a team that supports him and wants him as their quarterback instead of he's this second option. He's going to come back from injury and split rep with Sam Darnold. He's not our franchise quarterback when he was supposed to be your franchise quarterback. Period.
I feel
That's
it.
what he was
I
supposed
feel
to
it.
be. That's what he was drafted to be. So yeah, I feel like I'm speaking to a mirror because we have a lot of the same opinions, and it's just the Niners Twitter. It's always going to be fun. Niners Twitter is fun. You got everybody's got their sides. I love trolling the guys back. I love the back and forth with these Jimmy fans or Brock fans. I'm a Trey fan, so I'll step up and say it. But it's hard to be a Trey fan and defend Trey when we really haven't seen that much on him. We don't know. I
think that's the ultimate underlying thing that the other side doesn't necessarily see is we think he has all the traits to be great, but we also acknowledge that we haven't seen enough, and there is a big possibility he's not the guy. We just want to know. That's all we're asking for. We just want to know for sure before he moves on somewhere else. That's all we care about. And it's not like we're just, he's for sure going to be great. That's just the opinion. And so, but then you got the other side that is all in on anybody but Trey. And every time you got the chance to jump on it, it seems like, well, damn, you're really calling this kid a bust after 4 games? That's wild. That. How do you go that far? We're not insulting any other quarterback. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just a weird thing.
Yeah, and I think one standpoint that a lot of fans, me personally, I'm into sports card collecting. So I have a pretty good investment in Trey Lance. And there are a lot of people in the sports card world that have put a lot of money in Trey Lance cards or Brock Purdy cards. And those two factions, you would call them, are hoping that their player gets a chance and does good because then those cards go up. So you could be a football fan, you could be a card collector too. And a big investment of a lot of these people's money balances on which quarterback starts. So you're always going to have these guys that spend. I mean, there was a time, and I don't know if you know anything about the sports card world, but there's a time a few months ago when one single Brock Purdy card, just a regular base card, was selling for $100 with all that hype, and now it's $2. So these people that were, buying, it happens quick. They want to see their investment in their player get a chance. So I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you're doing. Brother. Keep it up on Twitter. Go Niners either way. We have 2 young quarterbacks, that are good.
Lobs, get back in here. You were going to be next. Lobs, get back in here. Please get back in here. Oh my gosh. All right. I'll let you go, David.
All right, Jesse, take care. Thanks, man.
All right, later. The people that were in front of you fell out. Lobs, get back in here, please. I'm throwing the StreamYard link. Seems like a couple people dropped out at the same time, and they're saying that they had trouble. So for those of you that were backstage, click on it again. Third String All Pro. I know you were one. Niner by nature. Coach was back here. Few of you guys. So definitely jump back in. There we go. There's John B. There we go. All right, cool. Perfect. Okay. Y'all are back in. Lobs, please call back in. Oh my gosh, we were so close. All right, Third String All Pro. We got you back in. We're good. You got to remember, he hurt his finger during preseason of 2021. So of course you were hearing about it before the Arizona game. That's when he hurt his finger. So there you go. All right. Not everybody nature, case 49. Everybody's back. Okay, except for Lobs. Oh well, it is what it is. I guess it is what it is. All right, we're gonna go Third String All Pro, then John Dupree. There's 2 of you back here, and then I lost all sorts of whatever. I'll just go in the order in which you guys are in. I apologize, everybody. You guys all fell out, and I lost what the hell happened. So, all right, Third String All Pro. We're going to you.
What's up, Jesse?
What's up, Third String?
How's it going, bro?
Dude, I love the name. First of all, I have to say, I see you in the chat all the time, but just the name is like an oxymoron. I absolutely love it. So Dude, good job on you.
Bro, it's a funny story, man. That's been my fantasy football name for probably the past, I don't know, however long I've been playing fantasy. But yeah, man, let's I don't know, with the whole Brock Purdy Trey Lance thing. I don't know, man. People think we hate Trey. Some people think people hate Trey Lance. I don't know if it's necessarily hating Trey Lance. I think it's more or less, for me personally, it's I don't think he's gives us the best chance to win. I think Brock gives us the better chance. He definitely has shown more in games. Sorry, I have asthma, man, so just bear with me for a second.
No, you're good, bro. You're good.
Yeah, man. So yeah, man, I don't know. I just don't see it in Trey. I know 4 games is a small sample size, but I don't know, man. He looked very uncomfortable in those 4 games, and you see what Purdy did, and it's almost like, man, this looked completely different. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. And that's what I want to be clear about this. And I've definitely said it, and I hope everybody has heard me. And if not, you're going to hear me say it now. If you're going off of like who looked better, there's like not an argument of who played better in the time that they had. Like there is literally no argument there. And anybody who's trying to make an argument otherwise, like I would caution to say that that's probably somebody that's extremely biased, right? So I don't think there's an argument there. But I think the argument comes in where it's like, I mean, I don't know about you, third string all pro, but I've been watching football a long time. Terror Dome, that's why I'm surprised that you're so like it's cool if you're all about Purdy, but Terror Dome surprises me a little bit because he's like so out on Trey Lance after a small sample size. That man's seen more football than I've seen. Yeah. And he should be able to tell you just like I can tell you, and anybody who's been a fan of football for a long time, there have been a lot of players that have started out pretty bad that have turned into something really good.
Oh,
and vice versa. There have been players that have started out really good that you were sold on that turned into something really bad. So I just caution people to say one way or another, Trey's a bust, Trey's great. Brock Purdy sucks, Brock Purdy's good. Insert any quarterback in the league. Zach Wilson's a bust. Justin Fields is going to be great. Whatever that looks like. I caution you and just say, I would implore anybody to give it 3 seasons. 3 seasons. And when I say 3 seasons, I mean like I want to see some games in each of those seasons. Give me 6 or 8 games and over 3 seasons each, and then give me an opinion. But until then, I can't go. I can't go.
Yeah. Well, and I get that, and you got to see some stability, right? You want to see consistency and some, games, over a period of time, right? But I don't know, man. I don't know. The other caller, if he said something about Trey Lance being compared to Russell Wilson, I don't know, man. I think Brock Purdy has more of the Russell Wilson escapability, quick twitch kind of game, whereas Lance seems like he's more laborious in his runs and his strides and getting up to speed.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and that's, I tried to like throw in my 2 cents, say like, yeah, I think Purdy behind the line of scrimmage is actually very elusive. I think he's similar to Russell Wilson behind the line of scrimmage. Now he doesn't have that extra gear to, probably run for a ton beyond the line of scrimmage. And I think that's what separates, and that's something that Trey can do. But as far as like that initial burst, I mean, yeah, it definitely shows on film, and it also definitely showed up during his, his 10-yard split. So yeah, right. I agree with that portion of it.
He's all torque, Purdy's all torque. He gets up to speed real quick. I don't know, man. So what do you think about this, Jesse? And you can answer this after I get off.
Yeah.
Okay, the Dallas game, right? A lot of people are saying that's the measuring stick for Purdy. That's how we know he's limited. This and that, all these narratives and things like that. I'm curious from you. What do you think about this? Do you think if Trey Lance had the same game that Purdy did, same stats, same everything, would people be saying, "Oh, Trey Lance can improve. He'll get better. He'll learn from this," or will you get like the Brock Purdy treatment, where it's, "Oh, this is how we know that he's not a good quarterback, or he's got limitations"?
All right. I think it's a really good question. Really, and I'm going to answer it. I'm going to get you off third string all pro. Thank you for calling in. It was good to hear from you. I'll definitely answer your question. A really good question, by the way, because I think a lot of people, I've heard people ask this on Twitter, and I've tried my best to answer it, but I'll do it obviously here for everybody on video. Third string all pro, brother. Thank you for supporting either way. I know we disagree a lot, but I really do appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate you, bro.
All right. Yeah, I think it's tough because even if the statistics are the same, it's impossible to say that the gameplay would look the same. So one, I think that makes it a little bit hard. But I think I don't know if it's a knock on Purdy. I don't know, however you want to put it. A lot of people, myself included, think that there's a clear ceiling with Purdy. And I mean, let's just be real. There is. Doesn't mean that ceiling can't win a championship, I guess, right? With the right pieces around you. Not saying that. But there is a clear physical ceiling there. Like the arm's only going to get so strong. The height isn't going to get any better. The straight line speed's not going to explode. Like those things can't happen. There's things that you are physically gifted with and things that you just don't have. And so that doesn't mean he can't improve, by the way. I'm not at all saying that Brock Purdy can't improve. But we just know that there's physical limitations there. With Trey Lance, regardless of how he plays, it's like, well, I mean, it can still get better. Like the ceiling is certainly higher because the physicality is there. There is no limitation in his arm strength. There is no limitation in his size, height, any of those things. Short area quickness is one thing that Brock Purdy does very, very well. You either have that or you don't. Brock Purdy has that. Trey Lance is not, his short area quickness can improve. You can work on those things, but he's never going to be Brock Purdy quick. Like that's just not something he's ever going to have. So it can go both ways a little bit, but it leans more towards, listen, Trey, who we knew was raw, if he had played that good out of the gate and we're like, oh, wow, there's so much more here. I think people realistically would be more excited because they know that there's those physical things that he can grow into. Accuracy, I think, is one of those things that you can improve on. That's a big area of opportunity for Trey Lance. I think he can improve on that. Can Brock Purdy get taller? No. Like that's kind of what it comes down to. So the traits that you're missing, can you learn those things or are they just ingrained in who you are? Because that's the gifts, good or bad, that were given to you by God. That's what it comes down to. And unfortunately for Purdy, his traits aren't there. Doesn't mean he's not going to be a better quarterback than Trey Lance. Doesn't mean that Trey Lance is going to be great. But the facts are the facts. There's certain things that you just are never going to have. And those are his things. So hopefully that answered your question. I know it was very long-winded, but hopefully I answered it. All right, we're going to go John D., then Monsa, then John B., then Alan, Niner by Nature, Case 49, and Eric. All right, let's go. What's up, John?
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too, man.
So it's literally my first time ever calling in for either like your channel or Grant's channel or anybody.
Yeah,
so it's a pleasure to meet you. So I'm calling from Ontario, Canada. So
I thought cool. you almost didn't have to say because I heard the Canadian accent for sure. I definitely heard it.
Okay, so what I wanted to talk about was and if you already talked about it, just tell me to shut up. It's all cool. So when it comes to Trey and Purdy, right? Trey and Brock. The only thing that is bugging me the most about this whole situation, and I think it's bugging the most people about this as well, is nobody knows what Trey is, right?
Exactly.
And the thing is like you can't tell off of 4 starts. One of them was a monsoon, right? So that doesn't even count really. And the thing is that a lot of people are either quick to say, "Oh yeah, he's the greatest," or "Oh yeah, he's going to be like the worst." Type of idea. We need to go with Purdy, right? And Purdy did a great job last year, definitely, especially considering he was a 7th round pick. But the thing as well is that Brock didn't have that expectation on him, right? Whereas Trey does have the expectation, right? And then I'm just like, all right, well, why not just do this? Like, I was thinking of this back when they got Hargrave. And it's like, why not just have the first 4 games start Lance, right? If for some reason, like, I don't have any wood around me to knock on, or technically a wall. If for some reason Lance gets injured, as much as I don't like Sam Darnold, I would say bring in Sam Darnold for like the replace, only because at least you're giving Brock a full bill of health, right? And then at the same time, you at least know what you have in Lance, right? Because at least that point, like, he's been working all off season. He's been in like the locker room for a while now. He knows the playbook. They should not be using him as a running back. You know, like, I am a very big advocate for quarterbacks who are better behind the line of scrimmage, right? Because that's what a quarterback's supposed to do, in my opinion. And if they can scramble to get extra yards, that's a great bonus. But I only want like maybe 6 yards tops, right? Like, I'm not looking for like 50-yard runs like Lamar Jackson or something, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that if he ends up doing very good within those 4 games, right, then you say, okay, fine. Now for the next 4, we're going to bring in Brock, right? And then if Brock does very good, then you're just like, all right, well, now we know that we have 2 very good quality quarterbacks. And then by week 8, you can decide, okay, what are we going to do for trading, right? Because you don't need to have 3 quarterbacks on, like, well, technically with the 49ers, maybe, but realistically, you can't have 2 first-string caliber quarterbacks on the same team unless you're going to trade them or you're planning on not renewing contracts or whatever, right? And then kind of just work it that way. So at least it gives an opportunity for both of them to really be able to see what they both can do. And yeah, like, I think that would solve a lot of their problems, because people don't want to trade Trey right now because nobody knows if he's really good, right? And then the organization is going to get a lot of backlash for it because they gave up so much. But then if he is really good and you say, okay, I do want to trade him, at least you're bringing up his stock to trade him. And if he turns out that he's really bad, then they could just say, hey, well, do you know what? We messed up. So what? Every place messes up, but at least we have Purdy to come in anyways, right? So it kind of like hedges their bet a bit. But I don't know. It's just something that I was thinking of a while back anyway. So,
yeah, I mean, I think the cool thing about Purdy is, well, I want to say this too. And I know a lot of people in the chat like think they have it all figured out. You might be right. Like, Brock Purdy might be that dude. But I can assure anybody, like, we don't know for sure right now, one way or another, who Trey is. And we don't know who Brock Purdy is either. Like, it looks really good, but I've seen this before. We've seen this before with our own quarterback that just left the team. We've seen this. People are always like, oh, well, 5 games with Jimmy. Like, it was only 5 games and the stats didn't look as good. Hello. It wasn't just 5 games. We watched him for a whole season in 2019. Yeah. And he looked pretty good there too. Yeah. Right? Like, it wasn't just, 5 games and then it was like, he looked bad in 2018 and we knew right then and there Jimmy G is not the guy. No. No. A lot of you still thought he was the guy last year, right? So now we're not talking 5 games. We're talking 2017. Okay, we have the injury in 2018. Certainly, I know most people were on board in 2019. You know, there was a point, maybe it was the Vikings game for you. For me, it was the first Seattle game. Maybe it was the Super Bowl. Some of y'all, it took till the next 2-3 years, and some of y'all are still thinking he's the guy. So I just, this thought that it's like, we're comparing the 5 games of Jimmy Garoppolo to the 8 games of Purdy. No. Jimmy Garoppolo for a much longer period showed that he was quote unquote the guy, right? He ain't the guy. He wasn't the guy. He was never the guy, but he fooled a lot of people into thinking he was the guy. So all I'm saying is we don't know for sure who Brock Purdy is, but one thing I will say about Brock Purdy, right now we've got a big enough sample size to at least feel comfortable for a season that we can probably get it done. So I like the 4 games from Trey thing. I love that. Figure it out a little bit. You're still not going to know. By the way, you're not going to know after 4 games, but you're going to have a better idea at least.
Yeah.
And then if it looks great and you feel like he's everything that you drafted him to be, keep rolling. If not, then you can go to Brock Purdy comfortably and that's your guy. I just don't, and it's not going to happen. By the way, it's not going to happen. Brock Purdy's going to start week 1 if he's healthy.
Yeah.
Totally understand that. But I'm not against the idea that you throw out. So there we go.
Okay. Well, anyways, I know you have a lot of people to go on here, but I just want to say thank you very much. Appreciate all your shows and have a great night.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you later. Thank you for calling in. Hey, first time call, man. You did a good job. Bobby, that's fine. You may have thought, you can say I thought that, but when did you think that? And don't lie. Like, what are the kids? Don't cap, don't lie. Because you know as well as I do that there was a period of time that you thought he was that deal. Everybody thought he was that deal. I thought he was that deal up until that first Seattle game in 2019. A lot of people thought until that Vikings game. A lot of people thought until the Super Bowl. A lot of y'all still think. So to act as if you didn't think he was ever that deal, you're lying to everybody, and we all know you're lying. We all know you're lying. Because if you were a fan of Jimmy Garoppolo, if you were a fan of the 49ers, after what we had gone through, to see that team turn around the way that they did, you 100% believed for some period of time that he was that deal. Period. And you were fooled. You were fooled. Everybody in this chat was fooled. I was fooled. I'm not going to let it happen again. I'm giving it 3 years. That's been my rule for a while now. I'm going to stick by that. And if you can't respect that or agree, that's fine. But don't act like you know on Purdy either. You don't know on Purdy. You don't know on Trey. It's way too early, period. We've seen this show before. And it's not just Jimmy G. It's across the league. Go look at the first year of Josh Allen. Go look at Josh Allen's first 2 years. Go look at Stafford's first 2 years. Very similar to Trey Lance, by the way. Really awful numbers, actually, his first season. Then he got injured in year 2. Looked horrible. Got a third year and turned it around. You can say the same thing about Foles the opposite way. Go look at his first 10 games starting in his career. Then he came back and won a Super Bowl and looked elite for a playoff run. You think there weren't people in Philly that were fooled? What about Baker Mayfield in his rookie year? You don't think that Cleveland, who was just hungry for that franchise quarterback, that guy, we finally got our quarterback, first overall pick, and he looks really good for a year. You don't think they were sold on him? Come on, man. Like this thought that we know, that's what I hate. I don't mind a difference of opinion. I don't mind, hey, you know what? I believe Brock Purdy's going to be that guy, or I believe Trey Lance is going to be that guy, or I believe he could be that guy. I don't mind the difference of opinion. I understand why you could think those things about both these guys. I respect that. But to say you know, that's where I get fired up. Clearly, you can see it. That's where I call BS. You don't know, period. Period. You don't know. All right. We're going to go Monsa, John B., Allen, Niner by Nature, Case 49, and then Eric. Up, Monsa. You're muted, I think. I know you got to plug in an order and do the whole. I remember when I was on your show. I remember you.
Yo.
There it is. There it is. Okay.
All right, bet. Okay. All right, still figuring that out. Yeah, I was just saying peace. You know what I'm saying? Twitter's been fun this last couple weeks, but I wanted to touch on something. I think that a lot of 49ers fans love Brock Purdy and his capability because I did. Is anyone paying attention? Is anyone paying attention to Brian Greasy, Brock Purdy himself? I got to spend more time in the pocket. So and I really want to talk about Kyle Shanahan, and I really don't like how Kyle Shanahan coaches quarterbacks. Why would you now force this kid to stand in the pocket? You're asking for this kid to make mistakes. You're literally asking for it. Or it becomes like the Willie Beeman situation with his coach, whereas I'm not going to stay in this pocket because the team's got my back. The players want me out here on this field. The fans want me out here on this field. I think Brock is going to be in a position that Kyle's not going to like. I think he's going to end up in a position that Kyle doesn't like. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's going to be a potential issue, or
you know it's
with Brock going forward?
It's funny that you caught that, because that's what I like about Brock. What I like and what he needs to improve on. Like I talk about, hey, I would prefer that he didn't escape out of the backside of the pocket as much. I get that. But I don't want that taken away from his game, because that's also what makes him slick. Like that's what makes him fun to watch. That's what differentiates him from a lot of quarterbacks in this league,
right,
including the one that we just had in Jimmy Garoppolo. So I want him to keep that. So that thing where he was like, yeah, I got to rein it in and do more what Kyle needs me to do. I'm like, oh man, I hope there's a fine line there. Yes, you got to rein it in and you got to step up in the pocket and those things. But I also don't want you to lose what makes you special and what differentiates you. Because if you are the quarterback, like I'm rooting for this dude, I want him to do well. You know what I mean? So right. I don't want that to happen. And I do feel like a little bit that was kind of snatched away from Jimmy Garoppolo. And you hear it when he's candid or his agent's been candid. You've heard those little things come out a little bit. And I know the injury took some away from him as well. I'm fully aware of that. But some of that improvisation and just playing free, you could tell that was stripped away from Jimmy a little bit. Mm-hmm. And long term, he didn't really improve. And I hope that doesn't happen with Brock. Let him keep what makes him special.
Let him be Brock. Okay, so I want to throw a question at you. How many starting quarterbacks in the NFL have a backup that you could potentially believe will be better? Could be better.
Maybe one or two.
Maybe. I didn't think there were any.
I'm thinking
because Kyle Trask, Baker Mayfield, they haven't decided who QB1 is.
Yeah.
Other than that, your backup never has the potential to be better than you. Never.
Yeah, that's true. Usually. Unless it's a rookie. Unless it's a rookie that you've drafted and you're sitting. Right.
Unless it's a rookie that you drafted and you're sitting. Okay, so we have found ourselves in a peculiar situation where Trey could possibly be better than Brock, but we're not going to find out. And I don't know. I'm extremely and overly. I'm not saying that he is, because I know he's not. Like today, as of today, if Brock were 100% healthy, I'm going to say Brock is a better quarterback. But if I get 8 games of Trey, and he's improving from 0 to 10, you mean to tell me that you see him improving from 0 to 10? I don't believe Brock's a better quarterback than him. If he's improving from 0 to 10, his accuracy and timing's better. Of course, I got to see it. But if he's improving from 0 to 10, we already know every throw in Kyle Shanahan's playbook, Trey can hit it. And we already know that Brock can't. And I'm not saying that you can't score. We watched him score 35 points. No, we already seen Brock put up the points. We know he can produce. Okay? We already know that that's possible. But what I'm saying is, if Trey Lance, the incremental improvements, because people that actually look at the position and actually watch Trey understood in the beginning
there were improvements there. People act as if there was nothing.
Yeah. This is a project, and it's a huge project. Mm-hmm. But when I'm watching this project not play back-to-back games, and I see the incremental growth within three games and a quarter, I see incremental growth from game to game. He made the mistake of throwing a one-speed pass that they batted down in the Houston Texans game. He throws that same route to McLeod, layered it in that shitty weather game. Excuse my language. In the bad weather game against Chicago. So I see the incremental improvement that he's made with his strides on his drop back. He's made those. And then to come to hear about the finger. Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me that you did this and you had an issue with your finger? And I'm still considering. No, I'm not. I want to get on the bandwagon of, if Brock's ready to go week 1, play him. I just can't. I can't. For some reason, I can't get on it, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm not giving Trey 4 games. I'm gonna play Trey. I'm just gonna play him.
Well, So one thing, 5 minutes is up, so I'm gonna let you go here in a second. But I also want to know the answer to the question of Rosen's the only one I can think of off the top of my head that was a top, like, I don't even know where he was picked. I want to say he was in the top 15.
Was it
remember correctly?
11? Rosen?
That's what I thought, like 11. Yeah, okay.
11th or 9th or something like that.
But how many, top 15 pick quarterbacks are off the team? And even he had more starts. I mean, who is off the team and just not ever given a chance and written off after this little amount of starts? Like, it's unprecedented. And the reason it's unprecedented is because you just don't know. Like, it goes back to the original point before you were on. Like, you can't know. Now, I get it. Like, Rosen's situation was unique in that a new regime came in. They had the first overall pick again, or the first overall pick. I understood that. And you had a coach that was, like, in love with Kyler Murray. That was a very unique situation. The 49ers situation, the coaching staff, at least from the head coach standpoint to the front office, is all the same. All the guys that said, yep, we'll take him. We're putting our stamp on Trey Lance. He's our guy. They're still here. I've never seen anything like this.
Every last one of them.
Ever.
I've never seen.
I don't know. It's a strange situation. I'll just say that. I'll leave it at that. But
okay. Well, before you go, I know you got to go.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put your feet to the fire. Put a number on a percentage. Put a number on it. What is the chance? Just from based off what you've seen, I know it's a small sample size. What is the chance that Trey's better than Brock? What percentage would you put on it?
Like,
once he's gotten his experience, not right now, but once he's played 2 full seasons.
Okay, so like he's actually given the opportunity to be a starter.
Actually given the opportunity to play.
Because that's it right there. Like, if he doesn't get it, then it's like I can't predict what.
Right, but if he's played 2 full seasons, doesn't matter if he was traded away or if we kept him. Doesn't matter. He's played 2 full seasons. Is he going to be a better quarterback than Brock?
Yes. I have zero question. And
me neither. I have no question about
it. The thing for me is, listen, I'm not saying I've always been right, but there's, for some reason on this quarterback position, got a lot of receipts out there that show I've hit on most of these mother effers over the last 6 years. A lot of receipts.
Yeah, I've seen them.
A lot of receipts out there, including saying Brock Purdy was good on Grant's show in 2021.
I watched
including saying that and saying, hey, listen, man, I think he's a 3rd round pick. I think he's a 3rd round talent. And then when he was drafted, I was like, I can't believe he slipped all the way to the 7th round and then celebrated it. So, like, I feel like I've got a really good feel of this position right now. I mean, that could run out at any time, and it may run out with Trey Lance. Maybe that's the end of the road for me. But if I'm going off of my evaluation that has been right for this last 6-year span, then I'm 100% confident in it. Yes, I think he would be better than Brock Purdy.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. I appreciate you.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
All right. Take care.
All right. We're going to go John B., Alan, Niner by Nature, Case 49, and Eric. All right. We got a good lineup coming up here. This is going to be a great group to close out this show. So let's get it. What's up, John?
Hey, Jesse, man. What's going on, man?
Hey, everything's good, man. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm liking the cut. I see you ready for the weekend's a fresh cut. I like that, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, isn't it something about getting a haircut though, man, that just really, like, for guys, that's the ultimate like, confidence builder, right? Haircut day.
Absolutely.
The best.
Absolutely. It's the best. So, Jesse, I was relaxing this evening and then Flave called in and now I'm out back with my second drink. So I'm ready. Shout out to all my guys. Young Montana, Niner by Nature, 187, 3rd string, Flob, infamous one, all my guys. All right, where do we start here? All right, so I'm going to say this again. Brock Purdy played great for a rookie. Can't deny it. You can't argue it, right?
No.
But here's my thing. Why is there this assumption that when Brock comes back, he's the same Brock or better and that the timeline meets Brock where he can take us all the way to Super Bowl in the second year as a second year QB. Like that assumption is like it's a lot of pressure on Brock. Like Larry and David say, Trey's not in their timeline. Trey needs 2, 3, 4 years, which may be true. But why are we assuming Brock is ready right now to take us all the way in winning Super Bowl versus, the elite Burrows, Allen, Mahomes, Hurts? And that's what kind of like bothers me. Again, he's good, but is he that good? In your opinion, Jesse?
Yeah, I think that's what I want to say. I agree with that. It's a lot of pressure. And that's why I go back to it's unfair to put that pressure. Let's remove Trey Lance. Let's say Trey Lance is traded. Okay. Let's completely pull Trey Lance out of this equation. It is why I have said if Purdy's your guy and you have the opportunity to trade Trey Lance for a player you think can help, you make that move. You remove any roadblock from Brock Purdy being your guy, just like they should have done with Jimmy Garoppolo for Trey Lance, in my opinion. When you think you have a franchise guy, you roll with that guy and you put everything into them. Also, that's why I think it's unfair that these expectations are thrown on him, because you're right. One thing about this league that we know is if you're not getting better or you're staying the same, you're actually taking a step backwards. And unfortunately, Brock has had this injury. I'm not saying he can't get better at all throughout the course of this season, but I would be shocked if he's a better version of himself anywhere before week 8. Like it's going to take some time to ramp up and then get back into the flow and kind of work on the things that you need to work on to get better. Mental reps are great, but nothing can replace a physical rep. It's the whole argument with Trey Lance. So these mental reps he's getting in, the towel thing, and that's all a cool story, but he needs actual physical reps to get better. And that has been taken away from him because of this injury. So now the expectation is, okay, they're going to come in week 1, they're going to score 33 points a game, and everything's going to pick up right where we left off. And if it doesn't, then what? Because that's not a high expectation for, Trey Lance to live up to. But what if Brock Purdy doesn't live up to his own expectation? Then where do we go? You know what I mean? I just feel like that's a pretty unrealistic thing to do. And maybe it happens. But man, you sure are expecting a lot from this kid. Still there, John? John? Damn.
Can you hear me?
I got you. Okay, there we go.
Ooh, that was close. Okay. The Purdy arm strength and dink and dunk debate, that's just been crazy everywhere. And here's my thing. Can Purdy make all the throws? Is different than can Purdy make all the throws in Kyle's offense? In Kyle's offense, we've seen so far, yes. I think we all could agree on that. But all the throws as far as the elite top tier Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Hurts, he cannot. That's not a knock on Brock, right? He has limitations to his arm strength and to his stature. That's not knocking Brock. Those are just facts. And Brock maniacs get upset and emotional and lash out. We're not attacking Brock. We're just stating simple facts. I think right now you would agree, Jesse, the top 3 elite arm quarterbacks, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen.
Ooh, I wouldn't put Burrow.
Arguably.
I would.
No,
it would be
not top 3.
It would be Mahomes, Allen, and Herbert would be my, as far as arm talent. Yeah.
Okay. I'll give you that. So, all right. And, those are the top quarterbacks that are going to win Super Bowls for the years. The league has changed. The league is not about who has the best defense. You can win 19 and 12. It's about who has the top tier quarterback. That's just how the league has transitioned. It's not knocking Brock, but we just see that Trey has that potential. He hasn't shown it. That's a fact. Trey has not put together a performance or a full portfolio of games to confirm he's that guy. Now, again, Trey's
situation, may never show it. John, he may never show it. Like, but we believe that, right? Like, that's okay to say also. He may never show it.
And every game he played is an asterisk. 2 games he played, rookie year, broken finger. The 3rd game in the monsoon. Like, we've never seen Trey healthy with the same roster as Brock and Jimmy and regular conditions. I want to
We've
see
also
that
just
for
never seen him in back-to-back games, like starting and
right.
completing back-to-back games. Like that's a big
I
deal.
want to see him in multiple games back to back, healthy, full roster,
Mhm.
and see what he can do. Because we have to see this is basic ROI, return on investment. You have to see what you have with Trey. They have a
For sure.
built-in excuse because they can say, "Hey, Brock's almost ready, but he's not quite there." So
Right.
for the first few games, we're gonna play Trey. Give him that 3 to 4 game sample size, right? If he's 3-1, 4-0, keep him in. If he's 2-2, struggling to put up points or less, pull him out. And that way you know what he is, but you have to see what he is. Not knocking Brock, he played good, but he's limited. You have to see what Trey is. It's hard to say.
Hey, I appreciate it, John. Thanks for calling in, man. Can you sing like John B, or is that like just
No, that's just a coincidence.
I just thought that would be another interesting coincidence
Yes,
if you could
sir.
sing like John B could. Hey, call in anytime, man. I appreciate you.
All
Thank
right,
you
my
for
guy.
supporting the chat, man. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, later. You got to find out. I mean, maybe he could, maybe he couldn't. I don't know. Dustin Dag says Trey also reminded me of Russell Wilson. Yeah, I mean, to me, Trey, and that's the hard thing. Like Brock Purdy, there are things about him that remind me of certain players. Trey Lance is the same way. Like there are things about him that remind me of certain players, but then they're just different. And that's everybody. Everybody's got a little bit of a unique twist to who they are. Every quarterback, every player. It's like, yeah, they remind me of this, but there's a little bit of a difference. Like Trey reminds me of, I don't know, a little bit of Dak, a little bit of Donovan, a little bit of Air McNair, a little bit of Watson. Like there's, some pieces in there you can pull. And then for Brock, it's like, well, I mean, got a little bit of Russell there. Then the arm's not as strong. So then like, okay, well, maybe we can go the Drew Brees route. A lot of people like to go that route. So I don't know, man. It's tough with these guys to give a full just comp. Justin comes back and says both QBs keep plays alive and eyes downfield for sure. For sure. And I like that trait in both of them. 49ers Throwback says, for you, appreciate your shows as always. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you for always supporting 49ers Throwback. And then Dustin's back. He says, what if Brock is not as good staying in the pocket? Then I think it's a career killer. I really do. Really, really do. Like, for those quarterbacks that can't move up in the pocket, step up in the pocket, keep their eyes downfield. I mean, right now it shows up all over film. It is a major weakness of his. Now, I do believe he can fix that. I do. That's not something you either have or you don't. That's something he can fix. I do have pause in saying that he will for sure fix it, though, because two things that are not in his favor. One is height. Sometimes smaller quarterbacks need to stay back and drift in the pocket so they can see. With Drew Brees, the way they ran the offense is they opened up throwing lanes as if he was a running back almost. That's how they did it with him. Is that something the 49ers are going to be willing to incorporate, or is that going to force Brock Purdy to have to fade back in the pocket to see downfield? I don't know. And then the other thing is there is a lot of game that he's played. He played 4 years in college, and he's put some games now in the NFL. Is he for sure going to overcome it? I mean, that's a lot of film out there of not doing it. So I don't know. We'll see. We will see for sure. I definitely think that's something he can overcome. But if he doesn't, I'm telling you right now, that's a career killer, 100%. All right, we're going to Alan, Niner by nature, Case 49, and then Eric. What's up, Alan?
Hey Jesse, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing?
I can't quite hear you. Can I refresh and you can go to the next caller and come back?
Yeah. Jump out and jump back in.
Okay.
Yep. All right, I'll kick him out of here. There we go. Boom. All right, we'll go to Niner by nature. Man, it's been a while since I've talked to you, Niner by nature. Glad you are calling in.
Can you hear me?
I got you, man. I got you. What's up?
Dog, man, I've been waiting. The dope, man, the line was out the door, wasn't it?
Bro, I know it was like a PS5. It's like you heard there was a PS5 at GameStop.
Man,
is what happened backstage.
damn, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, I'm gonna call this out, man. Before I go in, I'm gonna call this out, man. My three favorites, I think they the best in the game right now. Man, it goes Jesse. You know what I'm saying? No particular order. It goes Jesse, Ryan G, my boy Grant. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just know how we kind of like. It's like a vibe. It's like a feeling. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel it.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like that. But overall, man, I just want to say, man, thank you for bringing me on. Man, it's a blessing you bring me on. You know, like I always say, man, every day is not promised to us. You know, I thank your parents for having you, for blessing us, blessing this planet. You know, for your specialties and who you are as a person, because without you, we wouldn't have this experience. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to thank you for this, and I want to thank you for this therapy session. You know what I'm saying? So
hey, absolutely. And thank you, and thank your parents for having you, because you're a gem also, man. I appreciate you. So I love the support. You know what's weird, Niner by Nature, is there was a minute there where like you weren't around. I was like, damn, what happened to him? Like, he was like always around, and I was really like, damn, what happened to this dude? And then I started seeing you in other chats. I'm like, cool, but then I wasn't seeing you around here as much. I was like, what's going on, man? Like,
nah, bro. Short story, bro. Short story. I'm gonna give you real short. Like, okay, so first of all, I had started a new gig. You know, start working a lot, and then after that, I was like, you know what happened to Trey Lance, man, when he broke his ankle, man, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, you know what, man, I can't even watch this shit no more. You know what I mean? Because I want that guy to be successful. But I'm going to go in a little more about that in a minute. But also, too, man, I thought you were a little bit mad at me, man, after that Twitter incident, man. I ain't going to lie. I thought you were a little mad at me. So I kind of like, you know what? I'm going to back off a little bit. I'm going to come back, you know, slowly but surely. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I do my grill, too. You know
dang, what happened on Twitter? I don't even know what happened on Twitter.
Bro, so when when Jimmy G got hurt, right? And then it was like I posted a picture of a dude kind of like, you know, putting a Glock to his head. Like Jimmy G fans must be mad right now. But it wasn't more so towards them, so to speak. It's more so towards Kyle Shanahan. You know what I'm saying? Mm. But the Jimmy G fans, they like to go in. They like to go in on you. They don't care. They go in on you personally and everything. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of like made me, you know, I got a little emotional a little bit. I'm gonna keep it hood. I'm gonna keep it 100. I got a little emotional a little bit, and I kind of like, you know, shot back at him and gave him that picture, and it was kind of like, you know what, I did too much. I checked myself in that, and I took the picture down or whatever. Took myself off Twitter because Twitter's kind of toxic, man. Twitter is toxic as hell.
Twitter in general is toxic. Let's keep it a buck, yeah.
Absolutely, fam. Absolutely. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get away from this shit, and I'm just, you know what I'm saying, concentrate on my fam, concentrate on my job and everything like that, man. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna take myself from that. So overall, man, but I'm back now, you know. Ryan G, if you still in the building, I'm gonna be calling this Sunday, so y'all tune in. But what I want to say, man, I think Brock Purdy is a very confident young man. I think he has swag. I think he could run the offense perfectly. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about Brock Purdy that I don't see, and I do see in Trey Lance, is that Trey Lance, he can transcend that offense. See, Shanahan offense can make any quarterback look good, but can he get a guy that could transcend his own offense? You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing, because is Matt Ryan won the MVP. He won the MVP. Matty Ice won the MVP in Kyle Shanahan offense. By running that offense perfectly, but he didn't transcend it. You know what I'm saying? The reason why he didn't transcend it because he went in the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, Kyle Shanahan looking for that guy who could transcend it. And Trey Lance has that talent to transcend that. See, Kyle Shanahan doesn't have the resume of developing quarterbacks. We all know that. You know, that's why Trey Lance went out and got his own QB coach and Jeff Christian. Shout out to him. And Mahomes helped him out. And Mahomes didn't have to do that type of stuff. He didn't have to sit down with this kid and help him out. You know what I'm saying? So he sat down with Trey Lance, was like, look, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, this is what I see. And Jeff Christian's like, look, sit back, look how Mahomes doing this. Then you pick that up and you do the same thing. And then now Trey Lance coming to camp, he coming to camp and improve. I see improvement. Like the second year, I was like, man, you know what? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know about Trey. Like this one here, I don't know. I'm a big Trey fan. I'm a big Trey fan. You know that. I'm a big Trey fan. I fight for Trey, man. Ever since day one, I've been fighting for Trey. And Brock Purdy, if he's healthy week one, right? I'm saying that the franchise, the organization is giving this kid, they basically set him up for failure because he haven't had an off season, no OTAs, and you talking about he doesn't have a training camp either, and you want to come in, start week one against that Steelers defense, and against Tomlin? No way. Tomlin gonna eat him up. He'll eat him alive. He'll eat him alive. That's still gonna eat him alive. So I think that Trey Lance, man, y'all give him a chance. He only had 3.5 games, or 4 games, I should say. 4 games. Now, I'm going to speak on that 4 games, and I'm going to let you go with this. Now, the 4 games that he played, right? Yeah, he played. He looked like he kind of timing a little off. Rhythm a little off. Accuracy, not there. We already knew his accuracy is not perfect. We already knew he has a big arm, a talented arm. You know what I'm saying? Trey Lance has things that Brock Purdy has, right? See, Brock Purdy, okay, I'm gonna rephrase this. Brock Purdy has things that Trey Lance can learn and let it down the line and obtain, right? There's things that Trey Lance has that Brock Purdy will never get. Never. The size, the speed, the arm talent, he will never get that. He will never transcend the offense, ever. You know what I'm saying? Brock Purdy works well within the frame of the offense, but he cannot transcend the offense like Trey Lance can because of his arm talent and the athleticism and who he is as a person. Now, let's go off back to what I was talking about. Now, what I was talking about is regarding to why Trey Lance, like the timing was off, looked like he was playing trash. To me, he actually playing pretty good. Honestly, he playing pretty good. So the reason why, right? Now, take a look. Anybody in the chat room, take a look at my boy Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, when he came back and finally played at 1 or 2 or 3 games that he played with the Browns, how did he look? He looked out of rhythm, not with.
He didn't look anything like the Deshaun that we remember.
Thank you. Why? Because he didn't play. Because he didn't play. Yeah, he had a lot of stuff on his mind. He was out of rhythm. He did, you know what I'm saying? So that goes to he has to play to get back in rhythm. So Trey Lance has to play to get in rhythm. To get in rhythm, to get a confidence in that offense, to get a rhythm to hit his guys in stride. So I know Ayuk will be open on this play. I know Devo will be open on this play. I know Kittle will be open on this play. You know what I'm saying? So he gotta get that confidence. You got to stack up games. You can't play him the Cardinals game, then he sit 6-7 weeks, and then all of a sudden he plays the last week 17. Plays his Texans. He played pretty well. Must-win game, pressure against him. He wins that game with Kittle. Now, he don't play with Kittle one time, and then he won that game, right? And then, all of a sudden, he played the Bears game without Kittle. He could have won that game, but the defense actually gave that game away. So, and he played them freaking monsoon. Come on, man. Come on, y'all. He played in Monsoon. In the first 3 quarters, he was like 8 for 14 or 8 for 12 or wherever he was. His percentage was pretty high, and he was slinging that thing. I never seen Brock Purdy throw a ball over a linebacker in between a safety and a cornerback and nail it. That's what I'm talking about. Never seen that shit before. Brock Purdy is a great young man. He's a great quarterback. Is he fool's gold? I would say yes, he's fool's gold, and don't cash it in because it's not going to get you no money. So the thing is about Trey Lance, give him patience.
Make it quick, Niner. Make it quick because I let you cook for a while. Make it quick.
Okay. Right. So the thing is, let Trey Lance do his thing, man. I think he starts week one, and I think the franchise would not, and Brock Purdy dad would not let him play week 1 because it's not fair to him. Trey Lance gonna cook week 1, and from there, let him do his thing. He's not getting the starting position back. Jesse, God bless you, brother. I appreciate you. I will give you a call back, brher.
Absolutely, man. Hey, I was never mad at you. I don't even think I saw that tweet, to be real with you. So whatever. All right, listen. I got to take the opportunity. He was in here earlier. I'm going to take the call. I think everybody would love to hear this. I know a lot of people have been trying to get this man in spaces forever on Twitter. Hear him out, where he's coming from. We got lobs all day backstage. Bringing them on. What's up, lobs?
Yo, what's up, Jesse? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How you doing, man?
Bro, thank you for giving me the platform to speak. I know, like I do a lot of trolling and stuff on Twitter, but
for sure,
like people troll me on Twitter, so you got to do that back. So
I feel it.
And then first of all, I just want to say that Trey Lance, I like Trey Lance the person. My thing is, I don't think he's a good quarterback, and I just want to go through some stuff that he does positive. I think he has a pretty good pocket presence for a quarterback. He has good size. He has arm strength, but he doesn't have arm talent. And there's a difference between that.
Okay. Explain.
So like arm talent, like the ability to throw with a variety of arm angles, the ability to layer the ball over the linebackers, to throw with touch, you have to have different types of throws. For example, Chris Sims explains golf swings. You can't have the same golf swing, the same golf swings. It has to be different to be great. And then I feel like Brock Purdy, that's where he excels. He could throw it with different arm angles. And then, so his weaknesses I see is accuracy, his mechanics. He's not a natural quarterback, and he never was at high school either. People don't know his completion percentage as a senior in high school was only 55%. Throwing 121 yards per game, 11 touchdowns, 1 interception. And I think his touchdown to interception ratio will always be good. That I could almost guarantee because I think he's a conservative.
You think he's a good decision maker at least? You think that's probably why? Or do you think?
I think he's conservative. That's what I would say. He's hesitant. So he doesn't have that gunslinger mentality. And I would rather have a quarterback that does have that gunslinger mentality. For example, people like to differ Jimmy Garoppolo and Alex Smith. I don't think you could ever win a Super Bowl with Alex Smith. I'm not a Jimmy fan, but I think you have a slight chance to win a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, just because on 3rd and 10, he's gonna be a gunslinger. He's gonna try to get the first down. And that's another reason I don't like Kirk Cousins. People talk about stats and everything like that, but on 4th and 10, he throws a 2-yard pass.
He did do that in the playoffs. We did see that.
So you have to have that gunslinger mentality. Quarterbacks like Mahomes, Josh Allen, John Elway, Herbert. These quarterbacks are so great because they have all the other details down. It's not because of their arm strength that makes them great. It's not their size. They have the it factor. They have magical plays when the play breaks down. They're great decision makers. They could throw off platform. They could throw with a variety of different arm angles. They could throw touch passes. Every throw is a perfect spiral. That's what makes the quarterbacks great. But the arm talent is just, the arm strength is just a cherry on the top. You know what I mean? You have to have everything else down. And I think Purdy has everything else down. He just lacks the arm strength. He lacks the size. That's his weaknesses. But I think you can win with that. You just can't win with Trey Lance, in my opinion, because he lacks that. And I don't think natural feel can be developed. Like, even like Bill Walsh, like he stated in his document, like some quarterbacks are natural, some quarterbacks aren't. I don't think Trey Lance is a natural quarterback, and I don't think he will be a natural quarterback with experience. Can he? I don't even think, like, I honestly like don't think he could be an average NFL quarterback.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. And I honestly, when I reviewed his college tape, I thought he was going to be better than he is in the NFL. And that was because I valued his running ability. And for so far in the NFL, I think he's a much worse runner than I had thought. And I actually had Trey Lance rated as higher than Justin Fields pre-draft, and they're switched now. I have a much higher opinion of Justin Fields just because I think he has more of an it factor. I think he's more of a natural quarterback. He does struggle, and he struggles in like decision making at times, or he's slow on the progression reads. But I think you could develop that part, making faster progressions over time as you're more ingrained in the offense. But I think he's an excellent athlete, and I just don't think Trey Lance is. He's hesitant on runs and passes if you review his tape. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm a huge fan of Brock Purdy. I think the 49ers, if everything goes well and he's healthy, I think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. That's just my opinion. And one last thing.
Yeah.
I love Kyle Shanahan. I think he's a great coach, but I think he's an awful quarterback evaluator. He's had so many misses. I could like go on and on. Even like Justin Herbert, Josh Allen. 49ers were in the top half of the draft. If he wanted to, he could have traded up for those guys. He didn't. He passed on Tom Brady. He drafted CJ Beathard. He didn't even want to evaluate Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. I think he needs to grow in that part of his coaching, become a better quarterback evaluator. He got lucky with Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy saved his job. That's just what I think. And one last thing, people say I'm a Jimmy Garoppolo fan. I was a Jimmy Garoppolo fan before he tore his ACL. After that, like, no. Like, that guy, well, once he's under pressure, he gets happy feet, he gets scared. If there's no pressure, he's an excellent quarterback, I think. But under pressure, even the slightest bit of pressure, or you hit him a couple times, no, it's over. And
he gets jittery, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah, jittery, yeah.
And hey, Lobs, let me say this, and this is, you know, I mean, Twitter's one thing, whatever. I don't agree with a lot of what you said, but I do think that your point is well thought out, and I could understand why you could maybe arrive to some of the things that you said. This is why, and I said it earlier, and I said it on Twitter when I unblocked you briefly and said, hey, come on the show. This is why I prefer this format or Spaces or whatever, because it gives you a chance to like actually talk through your points and give a reason why. And it's like, okay, well, now if this is like what people heard from Lobs and they had this recording and this was like the take, like, okay, yeah, that's a reasonable take, whatever. I may not agree, but it's reasonable. But when you're limited to characters on Twitter, it changes the whole ball game. And then you get the trolling, people troll you, you're trolling back, and it just turns into a whole thing. I appreciate you for calling in. I appreciate you for continuing to try to call in. And the platform is open to you, man. You can call in anytime you want.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jesse. I appreciate that a lot. My only point is, I never started out with all this trolling on Twitter and everything. It all started from Mac Jones. Like, I got so much hate when I said the 49ers should draft Mac Jones. Like, I wanted before they even traded up to number 3, I said they should trade up to number 3 to take Mac Jones. And I got so much hate for it. People call me racist, all these kind of things. And after that, it's just been like a lot of hate I got. And so I've been just trolling back. That's pretty much what it's been. And
I feel it.
Yeah, it's much better like talking on this video call, and you get to understand each other's points much better. And so, yeah, I appreciate you giving me the platform to speak.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, call in anytime. When I don't have such a weight, maybe we can do some back and forth and try to dive a little bit deeper. But I do appreciate you for calling in, man. I think there's a lot of people that are going to be excited to hear this one for sure.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse.
All right, man. Later. Normal dude. Like, I don't know, this is why Twitter is like a weird thing. Social media is a weird thing. I don't know. Had him blocked for a hot minute. So maybe there's some outlandish, like crazy things he said that, I wouldn't vouch for, whatever. I'm not trying to say that. I don't know what every little thing that's been on his timeline, but just talking to him, normal dude. Throw it out there. Seems like a normal guy. All right, we're going Alan, Eric Dane, Roscoe's, and then Eric Wallace. Although Roscoe's, you said specifically you wanted to close the show. If you want to still, I can put you after Eric Wallace, but technically you were in front of him. So let me know. All right, let's go to Alan. What's up, Alan? Thanks for being patient, man.
Hey, no problem, Jesse. Thank you for the opportunity, man. I know I am thankful because I know it's about to be 12 o'clock at your time.
Yeah, dude, it's late, man, but I'm usually up pretty late anyway, so it's good.
Same
to go.
here. I wanted to ask you first because I do live in Indiana. If you want to hear outputs throughout training camp for Richardson.
Oh, 100%. Yes, absolutely. I want to hear about Richardson. Yes, 100%.
Okay, cool. And then I want to ask you, which one's most likely to happen with the whole talks with Kirk Cousins and stuff going on? Do you feel like there'd be what's most likely to happen? The Niners getting the number 1 pick because all 4 quarterbacks get hurt? Or the Niners go all in and get Kirk Cousins and Hunter in a big massive trade?
Oh, definitely the Kirk Cousins over the number 1 pick. No doubt about it.
Because I feel like everybody's talking about which quarterback's going to start. I don't think nobody is ruling in the possibility all 4 quarterbacks could get hurt again.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a possibility. I think the possibility of Kirk Cousins ending up on this team is higher than what anybody would like to admit.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like the idea, but maybe that could be the missing piece that Kyle needs. He's been loving Kirk Cousins, and it doesn't bring him down as much.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we can say about Kirk is he at least stays healthy, and that's something we haven't had in a long time.
Exactly. And then I want to say that I feel like the one comparison nobody's comparing Brock to is Alex Smith.
Oh, okay.
Remember Alex Smith with little mobility and stuff that you can make plays and stuff outside the pocket. But I feel like the only concern I have with Brock is that I feel like at times he feels himself a little too much. Like a perfect example is the Cowboy game where they're about the goal line, where he was moving outside the pocket to his left, and then he almost slipped and fell, and could have cost us, more yardage and stuff than what it needs to be.
Yeah, I think a lot, like athletically, they could be similar. I think the one big difference I see between them two, and even when Alex was at his best and putting up big numbers, he had that Kirk Cousins in him that, people were talking about earlier, where it's like he, on a 3rd and 10, will check it down. Versus, like, hey, man, like, take your shot. Lobs was actually talking about it. Take your shot. Like, Purdy, I feel like, will take his shot, to where Alex was, like, extra safe. Played it way too safe.
Yeah, I agree. But I feel like that could be a comparison for Brock that nobody talks about, especially for the success they both had so far. But I really don't care what quarterbacks go on the field at this point. I do support Trey 100%, but who knows what happens, especially with the Niners.
Yeah, bro, there's so many different options up to and including Kirk Cousins. So, like, that's where it's at. Like, this is the frustrating thing. And this is why, people are like, stop talking about the quarterbacks or, just ride with both. It's like, well, hold on. The 49ers and Kyle Shanahan are 7 years into this thing. They've put us in a position to choose. Like, That's natural human nature, is to make a choice when choices are given.
Exactly.
So get mad at them. Don't get mad at us. Get mad at Kyle and the 49ers, or just stay away from it. But don't get mad at people for talking about it or having an opinion about it. That's natural.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like that's the number one thing that nobody talks about in national media is that everybody assumes that Brock is gonna be perfectly fine and they're gonna go on a magical run and do all this crazy stuff instead of just like actually looking at the real situation from what it is.
Yeah, listen, if Brock had stayed healthy and had a whole offseason to improve and work on his game and wasn't fighting through an injury, like, yeah, I think that's a realistic expectation that somebody's going to improve. That's totally realistic. But when you don't have the offseason to prepare and you're rehabbing, it might be a little unrealistic to expect this giant leap from him, at least in year 2.
Exactly. That's why I'm kind of hesitant of us even making the playoffs this year. I feel like there could be a possibility where all quarterbacks struggle and we just go through a carousel. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah,
knowing Kyle and
absolutely.
stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, Jesse, I'm not gonna hold you too long because I know you got other colors, and I appreciate you giving us your time and stuff. So I'm gonna let you go. I will keep you posted with Richardson's situation.
Please do.
And see the differences. I will.
Please do. Do you have Twitter, Alan?
Yeah, I'll start getting into a couple tweets with you and stuff. And
Yeah. I mean, just DM me if you don't want to like do the whole like Twitter back and forth on a timeline, whatever. Just DM me. I am very curious to see what Richardson does. I think
I will. But so far,
good.
I want to throw in one more thing. The one thing I do notice, because they talk about Trey's accuracy, I noticed so far with Richardson, they have this little throwing net, and having him practice throwing on the run. I feel like that's one thing the coaching staff could add for Trey to practice. Maybe even Sam.
Yeah, for sure. I think it makes their job easier too when you allow them to get mobile behind the line of scrimmage and cut the field in half. I think it's helpful for a quarterback. I agree.
Well, I appreciate you, Jesse, and have a good rest of your night.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks for calling in. Call in anytime.
No problem.
Hey, I appreciate it. I definitely want the inside scoop on what's going on. A guy called Ed. He said this a while ago. I'm just now getting to it, but that's why I left it on here. And yes, Randall, I'm peeking into the chat, no doubt about it. I always got to make sure that I keep up on y'all. A guy called Ed said, Jesse, with all your hits in the last 6 years, where did Trey rank among them? So really, it started with the Allen draft. So I don't know, maybe that's 5 years, 6 years, whatever. So I would say out of the quarterbacks that I was super high on, the order that I would go, including up through this year, and we'll see how these guys pan out. I would go, Allen would have been my number 1 prospect, just going back to when they were in college, not what they've turned out to be. That could be a whole different thing. We still got a lot of time, but prospect-wise, it was Allen number 1, Herbert number 2. Number 3 would have been Lawrence, which I feel like everybody had him as a big-time prospect, so I'm not saying anything wild there. But Herbert, I had him 3 games into his sophomore year. I said that he would be a big-time NFL quarterback, so I was very early on Herbert. A lot of people saw it in Herbert for sure, and even in the draft, it was like some people were back and forth, but I think a lot of people by the time going into the process, a lot of people were in on Herbert. But I'm an Oregon fan, so I saw Herbert early, and 3 games into a sophomore season, I said, already a better quarterback than Mariota and is going to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I think that's come to fruition. So I'm definitely going to give myself credit there because it was way, way early on him. So anyways, Allen, Herbert, Lawrence, 4 would probably be Stroud, then Trey, then Richardson would be the big guys that I was in on. Purdy, I said he was a 3rd round pick. I thought he would be good, but I didn't expect him to be I never said he would be an elite quarterback. I just thought he'd be pretty damn good and be effective in this league. So out of the big names that I said, that would be the order. So Allen, Herbert, Lawrence, Stroud, Lance, Richardson, that would be the order. So there we go. All right, let's get to, we're going to go Eric and then Eric because Roscoe's dropped out. So we got Eric Dane. Bring him in first. What's up, Eric?
Hey, what's up, Jesse? How are you?
What's up, man? Both of you guys spell your name the exact same. No funny
Yeah.
business. There we go.
So I don't know how I'm gonna. I don't know how I'm gonna follow up on that last caller. I mean, yeah, it was such a bright ray of sunshine for them. Such a rosy outlook for the Niners season. They're gonna start 4 quarterbacks. All 4 are gonna play bad, and then they're gonna get injured. Oh yeah, I don't know. If that's the way the season's gonna go, then I don't know. I
You might not want to watch. I'm
I
telling
know
you.
you had that one caller a couple callers ago. He said he had a couple drinks after he heard Flav's takes on things. So I might need a drink from him if that's the way it plays out. Let's hope. I don't know. I think it would be kind of ironic if we spent the entire offseason debating Trey and Brock, and then I don't even want to say it and speaking into existence. But if they, like last year, both got injured, and then we got Josh Johnson, who, with all due respect, can't even receive a snap. I mean, come on, man. Like I didn't expect Josh Johnson to come in and play like Patrick Mahomes, but fumble. You're in the league 17 years and you fumble a snap. Like I don't know. In any event, the reason I was calling was I don't know, man. I'm a little worried that when it's all said and done, we're going to end up having given up 3 first-round picks and a third-round pick, and it's going to be even worse than if the player was a bust. Because at least if they were a bust, you could be like, oh, man, the guy just didn't work out. He just whatever. He didn't have the part of his game that he needed. Jamarcus Russell, whatever. It was a bust. You move on. You write it off.
Yeah, he didn't have work ethic, or he wasn't grasping the playbook, or he just never transcended, or he was injured all the time. Which the injury thing might become real, but yeah, keep going. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there's a million different reasons, but I'm worried that at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, we're not even gonna know if Trey is a bust or not, because the way that it played out with Jimmy playing the first season, Trey got hurt second season, Brock came in, played great, and now the players in the locker room, it's gonna be the same thing as it was with Jimmy. Well, we won with Brock, and I don't necessarily disagree. I like the way that Brock played. This is nothing against Brock. It's just I would at least like to know if Trey could set the bar even higher. I'd like to know because he's got better measurables. So is it possible that he could play like Brock even better? And I got a theory. I think I know how we ended up here. I think I know how it all played out this way. So as you said, they screwed up the draft with Mahomes and Watson. They had the pick. They didn't even look at the quarterbacks. They messed it up. I guess they expected that they were going to get Kirk Cousins in free agency. Then Jimmy Garoppolo becomes available. They make the trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. He wins some games. The players in the locker room, hey, we can win with this guy. They give him the contract. I think, we get to the Super Bowl. He misses that throw to Emmanuel Sanders. We end up losing the game. They had a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. If we had just had one sustained drive that ended up with points in the fourth quarter, they'd have a Super Bowl championship right now. Then the next year, Jimmy G gets hurt. Kyle Shanahan says, listen, I'm a great coach. I don't want to go down in history with a 25% win percentage because my quarterback either throws directly to the linebackers' numbers or gets hurt. So they decided to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo. I think, now this is my theory. I think that they had originally intended to trade for Deshaun Watson. I think they had it set up where they were going to trade 3 first-round picks and potentially a third-round pick for Deshaun Watson. That's what the rumors were at the time. And then all the stuff came out with Deshaun Watson, so they weren't able to make that trade. But the compensation is exactly what they gave up to move up to number 3. The reported compensation for Deshaun Watson is what they did end up giving up to move up to number 3. So I think they had their hearts set on trading for Deshaun Watson. It fell through with all the off the field stuff, and they said, "Listen, we were willing." Are you still there? I just lost your picture.
Yeah, I'm here. I have to set something with my fan, and it always messes with my screen, so I just turned it off. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if I disconnected. So I think that they were going to trade for Deshaun Watson. That fell through. They said, "Listen, we were willing to give up the 3 first-round picks and a third-round pick for Deshaun Watson. Let's see what kind of draft pick we can get, and maybe draft a quarterback." They couldn't get up to number 2, so they had to settle for going to number 3. At that point, the choice was between Justin Fields, Trey Lance, and Mac Jones. Now, I don't know if you play Madden at all, but in Madden, the quarterbacks, there's 4 different types of quarterbacks. There's strong arm, scrambler, improviser, and field general. I think with this particular offense, the best type would be a field general. Deliver the ball accurately when Kyle schemes guys open.
Yep.
But that would have been Mac Jones. And now it was also reported that Kyle wanted Mac Jones, but John Lynch and the scouts wanted Trey Lance. Now, John Lynch has said that it's basically like he gets to make the pick. Is at the end of the day, he is the GM. He makes the pick. Kyle's the coach. He calls the plays. That is the delineation of their powers. He respects Kyle's opinion. He works with him, but he's the general manager. He gets to make the pick. So no matter how much Kyle believed in Trey or didn't believe in Trey, we are where we are because they were going to trade up for Deshaun. They were going to trade for Deshaun Watson. It fell through. They decided to go for a rookie, and they took Trey Lance. And the for whatever reason, I guess they thought he needed a year to develop. And I think that that's fair because they did commit to Trey in year 2. You got to give them credit. They got rid of it for they kept Jimmy Garoppolo, but they basically said, Jimmy, go behind the bleachers. You know what I mean? You stay the hell out of here. Trey Lance, the quarterback, 1. They committed to Trey, but then he got injured. They had Brock Purdy as the third string insurance policy. He played great, and now you're in the same boat with the players in the locker room saying, "Oh, we can win with this guy." I don't know if we want to go through the growing pains with Trey Lance, and they might be. I mean, John Lynch has said that Brock Purdy's leader in the clubhouse. George Kittle has basically said that Brock Purdy is going to be a starter when he's healthy. I don't know how Trey can, in the eyes of the locker room and the coaching staff, can surpass Brock Purdy in practice or preseason games. I think because all that they're going to say is, yeah, but Brock Purdy did it in games. Okay, are you going to give Trey a chance to do it in games? Well, no. Okay, so how are we ever going to know we had in Trey Lance? And like we were saying earlier about the first 4 games, I know that they would never do this. It makes too much sense. It's too outside. Well, it's not that it makes too much sense. That's a little too disrespectful. But it's outside the box thinking to say we're going to go with this quarterback the first 4 weeks no matter what, and then we'll reevaluate it for 4 weeks. But I had to look it up when you mentioned that. If they were to do that, the first 4 games are Pittsburgh Steelers, the Rams, the Giants, and the Cardinals. It's not exactly the murderer's row. You got 4 out of those 4 teams, only 1 made the playoffs last year, and their quarterback is Daniel Jones. Okay, so if you were to do something like that with Trey Lance, that would give you an opportunity against not exactly the stiffest competition in the league to see what you have with him. It would give Brock time to know, listen, you're not going to play the first 4 weeks. You don't need to rush back for week 1. Take however long you need. Get your arm right. Make sure your mechanics, because we've already heard Trey talk about how he still had, he had an injury to throw off his mechanics. If Brock is 100% healthy, that might throw off his mechanics. And if his mechanics are off, maybe his accuracy is off. So that could be an option if they were to go with that route. But I just don't see. I think that they're going to have to make a decision by week 1. And I think, if anything, the only way that they don't go with Brock is if he's hurt. But if Brock is ready to play week 1, he's going to play. And if he doesn't get hurt, I'm assuming he's going to continue to do well because there's so much talent. It's one of the problems with evaluating the quarterback, and we always had this problem with Jimmy Garoppolo, is how much of the success is the quarterback and how much of it is the fact that you're throwing to Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. Now we got Christian McCaffrey. Your blind side is being protected by Trent Williams. You got Brandon Ayuk. It's difficult to say how much of it is the quarterback. And at a certain point, it doesn't matter necessarily if you're a fan. Who cares as long as the team is successful? If Brock throws to Deebo and Deebo runs for a touchdown, well, the play worked. They both get credit. It doesn't really matter at that point. So, I don't know. I'm worried that, Trey might have a higher ceiling. I think that right now he's shown inconsistency and problems with accuracy, and there are quarterbacks, we've seen examples of quarterbacks in the NFL who've had those problems, and then they've improved in those areas as they've played. And I keep going back. I know I think I mentioned it to you before, but I know I've said it in other places before. Keep going back to Peyton Manning's rookie season, 26 touchdowns, 28 interceptions. If that was Trey Lance, most of the fans would be saying, get him out of here. And that's after a full season. So I can't I don't agree with anyone who says that Trey Lance is a bust. I don't agree with anyone after 4 games, unless it's a Zach Wilson kind of thing where it's listen, he's also just a terrible leader. He's got bad work ethic. He's not a good leader. The intangibles aren't there, because if you got the work ethic, you can improve. If you got the leadership, you can get guys to rally around you. If you don't have those things, you're relying solely on talent. And if your talent is that far off, every now and again, you see a guy like Jamarcus Russell, and you're like, oh my God, this guy has, he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. This guy has no chance. I wouldn't put Trey up there. I think the Bears game, it was a bad weather game. I think he played well against the Texans. I think the Cardinals, it was a rough spot for him to go in his first start. And then obviously the Seahawks game, it looked okay before he got injured. So I can't say that he's a bust. I can't say that he's a great quarterback either. And that's the thing. We need to see him play in order to know. And maybe he's not as good as Brock Purdy. Maybe he'll never be as good as Brock Purdy. Maybe he just doesn't have the consistency and the accuracy in order to fit this offense. Maybe he'd be better, maybe trade Tua for Trey Lance or something like that. Maybe it would be good for both of them. Maybe Tua a little more accurate with the yards after the catch guys. Maybe Trey Lance bigger arm with the speed receivers. It might not even be that Trey Lance is a bad player. It might be that it's not necessarily the best fit with the players around him. But I just don't know. We might never know. I'd say the odds are at this point, we'll probably never know. I think most likely Brock Purdy will be ready for week 1. If not, I think however many starts Trey gets, he's going to have to blow the doors off. They're going to have to win convincingly because they weren't just winning with Brock Purdy. They were blowing teams out. So the only way that Trey can supplant that is if he can show that he can do that too. And like I said, unless Brock Purdy isn't ready to go week 1, I don't even know that he's going to get that opportunity because how's he gonna prove himself in practice in the preseason compared to what Brock Purdy did in actual regular season?
He ain't. But the thing is about it is that there still might be an opportunity for Trey if they don't trade him, right? Because we know that quarterbacks don't stay healthy here. It's just the fact of it. Brock Purdy has gotten hurt twice in a short time span. He may get hurt. That's a possibility as well. Now,
somebody's going to have to.
Something would have to happen in order for Trey to get in.
No. I'm saying the law of averages. Somebody's going to have to stay healthy for a season eventually. I mean, we saw it the year that Jimmy Garoppolo took him to the Super Bowl. Even Jimmy Garoppolo made it through one season healthy. Don't kill my hopes for the season in June. Okay, please do me a favor. There's a possibility that
for sure
one of them might stay healthy all the way through, if not both of them. And I'm still hopeful.
There you go.
Brock and Trey, the two in particular, and even Sam Darnold to an extent, have a little bit of escapability. So maybe they can avoid the rush and therefore avoid the injuries.
Keep protecting themselves. I feel it. Thanks, Eric, for calling in, man. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks for taking my call, Jesse. Have a good night.
Later. See, I got a smile when he was like, "I got a theory," because Eric always has. Almost always, I'm not going to say always, that would be a generalization, but almost always has not just a theory, but there's some comedy behind it. So I got a little bit excited thinking that might be coming, but we'll see. We'll see. I saw the comment. How do you call in? There's a link that would be pinned to the top of the chat. I took it down for now, though, just because I've been on here for almost 3 hours. So I'm going to end it after Eric Wallace's call. But definitely tune in next time. I usually do these every week. So you can tap in there and there will be a link for you to call in. So I appreciate it. Dustin Dag says, hopefully not the Troy Smith effect. I don't know. Was that me that you were talking to or maybe somebody in the chat? I don't know. Gotcha. Okay. I am going to send the link out for Chris because he was backstage and he fell out. So Chris and Chris only. Anybody else? I'm not going to get to tonight. Let me get to Eric Wallace here. I think Eric might be a Seahawks fan if I remember correctly. We'll see. What's up, Eric?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
There he is. You are a Seahawks fan, right?
Yes, sir.
There you go. I remember.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Doing all right. It's getting pretty exciting for football season.
Yes, sir. Are you okay? Can I ask you a question real quick, Eric?
What do you got?
And I may have asked this last time, but it's kind of front of mind right now because I saw the highlights floating around today on social media. Geno Smith, are you sold on Geno Smith or not so much?
Well, I'm happy with him. I was really thinking we were going to go quarterback this year. We didn't. So I guess I'm just going to be happy with him.
But you did want another quarterback potentially, right? You wanted to draft somebody and try to develop them?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was kind of surprised we didn't do anything about that, but I tell you, Pete Pete and John, they knew more. They knew more about what they're doing than I do. So, yep.
Yeah, though. I mean, listen, Pete Carroll's a really, really good coach.
Oh
Really,
yeah,
really good coach.
He definitely is. He can definitely get the best out of all his players too.
Yeah.
I mean, just like I know Shanahan's a good coach, and he can get the best out of anybody else. So, I mean, that first game that Brock Purdy, or one of his first starts, was in Seattle. I mean, that just showed how good he truly is, because he was able to come into Seattle and not only do well, but beat Seattle.
That he did.
Yeah, I
For
mean,
the division, by the way, Eric. For the division.
Yeah. I know. I mean, y'all got a bright future ahead of you guys. Yep.
I think Seattle does too, though, Eric. I think this is going to be a 2-team race here for the next couple of years, at the very least. I think Seattle's doing a good job over there. I hate to admit it, but I think they're doing well.
Yep. Yeah, I thought that maybe the Reds would hang around a bit, but that doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon.
No.
Yep.
No.
And then Arizona's Arizona, so yep.
Yeah, we know they're not any good, and they're not going to be good for a while. So,
Yep.
Ooh, Steve-O says this might be Pete's last season in Seattle.
Ooh.
You think that's a possibility, Eric?
You know, with Steve-O, he might be right, because I know he is pretty old. So, maybe if he wants to, if we win a lot of games, I could, or if we don't win a lot of games, I can definitely see it happening where it's close, and they just let him walk away, because instead of firing the guy, I'm just let him kind of walk away.
I don't think they can fire Carroll at this point.
No,
I
I
think
mean,
he's
I
earned lifetime, right? If he wants it.
Yeah, if he wants it, he's gonna get to stay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you like Oregon? How's Oregon looking this year?
Oh man, well, I'll say this. I was happy that Bo Nix came back. I think Oregon definitely needed that veteran quarterback. And then they've got some really good young quarterbacks that are in the mix. But man, it's really hard to win out of the Pac-12. Like, we know how it is. You get these other schools that are really good.
Yeah.
Had some guys decommit and go to other schools. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't have the highest hopes for them. But I do know that they'll beat USC for sure. And I say that because I got a USC fan waiting next. So.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy.
Hey, Eric, thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate you. Good luck to the 49er channel. Good luck to your Seahawks this year, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Yeah, I'll be around.
All right.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye. Hey, man. Behind enemy lines doesn't end just because the season's over. I'll say that. Before I get to Roscoe's, Jeff says, Jesse, question. Do you think trading for Danielle Hunter or signing Yannick Ngakoue? Oh, man. I would probably... I'm going to lean signing Yannick just because you don't have to give up any assets. But in a vacuum, I'd rather have Danielle Hunter. So, I don't know. Hopefully that answers the question. All right, I'm going to go to Roscoe's. What's up, man? Roscoe? Roscoe. Oh, man. Come on. Roscoe's. I'm going to text him real quick. Hold on. Watch this. Let's see. Roscoe's. About to text
Jesse,
you.
can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, there
Can
we
you hear
go.
me?
Okay. All right.
I guess I can't talk with the headphones on.
Oh, okay.
I'm at the gym right now. I'm trying to get buff, turn the fat into buff. It's gonna take some time. Hey, I just want to say this. I really wanted to call in to get my quarterback traits, and I also want to say this. Lob sound like a casual. Said he never seen Trey Lance throw over the linebackers on a layer throw when he literally did that against Chicago. He's a casual. But anyways, I'm not gonna
He
waste my
definitely
time.
did say that. My eyes and ears perked up when he said that one for sure.
I mean, and then he said he's not a good quarterback after only 4 games. That is not enough games to say if a quarterback is good or not. But slobs all day is going to slob, and that's what he does. I just want to say this because I know you got to go, so I'm gonna be quick.
The Twitter beef is real. I love it. Go ahead.
I gotta get back to lifting. I just want to say this: quarterback traits. The traits that I want in a quarterback is everything Tom Brady has, which is throwing with anticipation. Okay. I like what you said in leadership. I also like knowing how to mobility inside the pocket, and because Brady didn't have the best when arm talent. He didn't have like crazy arm talent, but also like processing. He's able to processing, and then last but not least, somebody who's a madman in their preparation.
Ooh, I like that. See, this is why I like this topic, because there's literally like 40 things. And I made a list of like 25, and that was not one of them. Like the preparation. I didn't even think about that. It didn't even cross my mind.
Brady was one of the top prepared players in the league. So it's just, that's the kind of traits that I want to put up. But I got to go, Jesse. I got to get back to lifting.
All right, man. We'll talk soon. Later. There you go. I mean, Twitter doesn't die over here, I guess. Last Second Sports. Golly, man. 3 hours we almost went. I did not expect to go almost 3 hours. I feel like I say this every call-in show, but that might have been the best call-in show. Might have been the best call-in show. We had great call-ins. Although a couple people fell out that I didn't get to that I wish I would have heard from. Case 49. Wish I would have heard from you, man. You always support. Heard you on Croc's show. Thought you did a great job. So I wish you would have been able to make it in. I know that you were backstage and fell out, and a couple others fell out as well. So hopefully next time I can get to y'all. Sorry that the wait was so long tonight. But man, I'll say this. For middle of June, not a lot going on. To get a 3-hour call-in show in, it's legendary. Legendary stuff. And that's because all of you, we heard from Lobs. Lobs called in. Anybody on Twitter? I mean, that's a big deal. You don't hear from Lobs. Heard from Lobs. That was big. I went off on a rant. You definitely got me fired up. So that was good to get. Pulled a rant from me. It's just a good show, man. It was a great show. Great calls. Tons of great calls. Tons of great points. It was a good show. Really good show. We heard from Flave. Everybody's favorite Flave. We heard from Third String All-Pro. That was great to hear from him. Regular in the chat. So I love it. Absolutely love it. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great weekend. Probably going to cut this one up and throw it out a couple different times because there was some good stuff that came out of this one. I don't normally do that, but there was some really good stuff. So anyways, appreciate y'all. Stay blessed. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll be back soon. Oh, hold on. All right. Thought I had a super chat. Already got to it. We're good to go.